ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Today's just not my day. Today is absolutely not my day. Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 69 of Unmuted. We got Serge Lutfi here, who's the vocalist of Aramaic and Verdict. And just before everything started, before we were setting up for this live stream, my iMac crashed, and everything that I had set up for the podcast, for all my work, all the editing stuff, is all gone as of today. So we had to bootleg it a little bit. This is a borrowed setup with a borrowed laptop and stuff, and we're hopefully the audio is good. So you are our eyes and ears. Everyone in the comments, Ben, Ahmed, Henjoy, Peter, you guys, everyone tuning in live is our eyes and ears for today. So let us know if everything is working clear. Give us a thumbs up in the comments, and let's hit the intro. Let's get into it with Serge. Serge, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
How's it going, man?
It's been a while. Yeah, it's all right.
So you're supposed to be episode 66.
Yeah.
That got canceled due to the current, we can't say it on the podcast because it gets flagged, the current state of the world.
Okay. It's the current state of affairs.
Yeah. And then episode 69, we're very excited.
Yeah.
My entire...
Not with each other, though. You know, so.
My entire rig crashes. It's safe to say that you're the cursed one.
Yes, I am. And I got to thank Satan for that.
That's episode 66 was the closest we could have gotten to 666.
Yeah, but we're a bit bigger than that now.
Yeah. And then it's 69 and it's still cursed. It's still evil. There's still something going on.
Yeah.
But Ben Monroe saying loud and clear. Joy's in the house. What is up? Thank you for tuning in. Sound and stream is good. Shout out to everyone tuning in. Like I said last time, there's you can tune in from any of the platforms, and we get to still see all of the comments combined on our screen. So shout out to everyone that's tuning in. But Sergio.
Yo.
Just I gave you a little bit of a botched intro because I was still sweating trying to figure out if the stream is working or not.
Yeah.
But just in case people tuning in don't know who you are, could you give a little bit of an intro to yourself?
All right, so Serge Lutfi, I'm a bit of a mixed breed. You know, I hail from many places. I'm a sound engineer. I started sound engineering, got into stage management and everything in events. But I love music. I'm a musician, vocalist. I do a lot of different things, you know, when it comes to just being creative with myself and my family. So, I mean, hopefully you get to know a bit about myself tonight.
Or unfortunately for everyone. She's the Phoenix, highly intrigued for this one. Thank you for tuning in. Matsum is in the house. What is up? He is aboard. And that's where I actually wanted to start, that comment from Peter. The first time I got kind of to know Serge, the name, just before we met at all, I was in Jordan in a band called Figure of Fate. Brilliant name. Metalcore band where I played the open root note on a bass guitar.
This was before Murder Backwards?
Yeah, this was after. This is the refined one.
All right.
This is the good. Actually, it wasn't a Figure of Fate. I think this was Infested Mind days. But I started getting into like the idea of the Middle Eastern scene. And
2000?
Yeah,
2000 maybe.
Maybe 2004. I think it was closer to 2004. And I started researching a bunch of bands from around the Middle East. And I remember, I think they were called Oath to Vanquish.
Yeah,
from Lebanon. Yeah. There was a band called X, and then there was a band called Ajdath from Jordan. They were like pretty old school, and he moved to Poland and started touring and stuff. And I remember Aboard, and I got...
it's Abhorred.
That's what I said.
Aboard. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Everyone says it the same way. So
isn't that what I said? What are you talking about?
Aboard.
A single board. No, but I found that there was this band from the UAE, and you guys had a CD that I found and T-shirts, and I was like, well, you know, like that's legit. A band has T-shirts, yo, because no one else had.
Probably the worst bloody t-shirts ever made in history.
I still have one.
Yeah, same here.
I
But
still have one.
it's still pretty bad.
But at that time, no one was printing fucking t-shirts. No one was selling CDs.
Found a guy. Actually, Peter, he's on here. He found a guy for us in Abu Dhabi for 19 dirhams a t-shirt. It was supposed to be front and back print. And the first print we actually got from him, it was the abhorred logo upside down, because the logo looked the same, you know, however you rotate it. And I was like, dude, can't you read? It's supposed to be the other way. And anyway,
wait. For those that are listening and haven't seen the logo, it's like a death metal logo. You can't.
Well, it's like a star. It's like a North Star, but you know.
No, but I mean, if you don't know what it's supposed to be, it's very difficult to read for someone with an untrained eye.
But I mean, for 19 dirhams, you know, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But yeah, that was the first time I kind of heard about you and about the band and about the scene in the UAE in general. And I was like I started like researching more and more and trying to figure out who was here and stuff, and found Nervecell and found the other guys as well. But what was leading up to Aboard? What was your musical journey before that? Because I don't think I've ever asked you that question before.
So as a musician, I think when I was 5 or 6, mom bought me a classical guitar. Maybe I played that for like 1 or 2 years, and then left Lebanon, came to Dubai in 1980. No music, you know, during that period. You know, obviously growing up, you still don't know what the hell, you know, this thing is. Trying to figure it out. I think by the age
just to everyone listening to the audio, he pointed downstairs.
Gotta remember that.
Yeah.
So I think about 13, 14, I met 2 guys who were into grunge. They used to go to Schweifat. And I think within a week after meeting them, we met at a club called Merlin's, which was the only alternative rock club for underage people.
Okay.
Because back then it was 18 plus to get into bars. Everyone had the fake IDs.
Yeah.
And so they came over to my house.
Were you into rock at all?
I was into like basic like grunge, you know. I was still into the Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and so on. And then they came over like, oh, we play music, you know, why don't you come join us? They live in Sharjah. A week later, I got my dad to buy me a guitar. It's a great Samick that I got rid of recently, surprisingly enough. And started playing a bit, you know, just trying to get back into music. And then in '95, DJ Bliss, you guys, you know him?
I know of him.
So Marwan Parham, he approached me in school. I was in Mawakib, and he's like, dude, you're the only metalhead I know. I want to start this, I want to do this band for this.
DJ Bliss is a metalhead?
He's a rocker. I mean, back then, you know, it was different.
All right.
So he's like, we need a bassist. I was like, oh, brilliant. I don't know anything about bass, but I'll go buy a bass. So I bought like a cheap Aria Pro bass too. It was pretty sweet. I actually sold it 6 years ago, and last year I went on Dubizzle and I found the guy selling it again. I was like, oh, I'd love to have it, but you know, I've got just so many other instruments that I need to get rid of first.
So it was primarily a space issue. You were getting rid of these, like the first guitar.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, there's no need to have 16 guitars. You have like 2 or 3 that are, you know, dear to you, and then just keep those. Yeah. So anyway, he approached me. He's like, "Do you want to play bass?" I was like, "Fine." Got a bass. Went jammed with him at this jam room in next to Mullah Plaza called the Folklore Center.
Folklore Center.
Yeah. So they had little porter cabins, and then you rented it out, and then you rehearsed or whatever. Yeah. So they were putting on this Battle of the Bands in Al Nasser Leisureland, where the ice rink was. Mm-hmm. So they obviously cover the ice, or they melt it and then put a stage and do all the setup. The guitarist was a guy called Jose. He was Portuguese, and the other guy, the vocalist.
What was the band name?
That for the life of me, I can't remember because it was.
This is one of the things that I love. Is what is the first band name?
That I can't tell you. But we called ourselves No Fear because we approached a sponsor who had No Fear as clothing, and he was like, "Okay, go to my shop and pick a full outfit of No Fear."
Wait, you starting the first band ever? You're approaching sponsors?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
we
some
tried it.
entrepreneurship.
We tried it, and then we got the full kit. We got hat, shades, a t-shirt, shorts, pants, shoes, the whole lot.
See, anybody listening to this or watching this right now that's either in a band that's starting out or looking to start a band, that's the kind of stuff that you need to, the grind that isn't, I haven't seen in a lot of the newer bands. Just rock up to random places, rock up to music instrument shops and just be like, hey, we'll plug you on social media if you do it.
But this is 95, 96.
So what was the trade-off? What
Nothing. They get their logo on the, what's it called? Man, I don't really remember too many of the details. It's just I remember we had No Fear merchandise, and we had to wear it on stage and perform with the outfits, so they can take pictures and stuff like that. I think I've got some random pictures somewhere.
Who in the live chat remembers No Fear? I think I had every single one of my books in high school was that logo with the eyes.
Yeah, I still have the shoes. They're
you still have No
shoes.
Fear shoes?
They still fit me now, which is I look after my shoes, so they're in good nick. So we played this Battle of the Bands thing. We were the first band on. We played Breathe by Prodigy.
Nice.
We played some Smashing Pumpkins. We played Chili Peppers and 2-3 other songs.
And this was your first experience on bass?
On stage, on
anything?
On anything.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what sound was. I don't know what the hell I was supposed to hear, what was supposed to happen. I just had a mic doing backup and the bass. So we finished the gig, and then someone from the management comes up to us and says, sorry, we had to stop the event because there was this permission that wasn't there. So we ended up playing the show, and then they canceled the whole gig. So that was my first experience, which is great. I had my first taste of being
that it's unfortunate that string of just things coming up to cancel shows.
So he knew that I was a metalhead rock or whatever. And then 2 years later, I think in 97, guy I went to school with, I left Milwaukee, so a guy I went to school with called Aboud, he contacted me and he's like, we're starting a metal band, stuff like Korn and Slayer. I was like, okay, cool, I'll get into that. He's like, do you want to play bass? I was like, yeah, man, I'm a bassist. This is So I touched my bass for that gig, and then nothing else after that. I think a couple of years. So I went to meet up with these guys. So it was Danny Vahanyan, who's still a good dear friend of mine now. He's half Singaporean, half Armenian. Good drummer, left-handed drummer. So it was always a fucking mission, trying to
there aren't too many of them around.
Get a setup for him live. It's like, God, just why don't you switch your mind, so you can play the right way. And then Mohanad Chuma. Mohanad Chuma, one of the most talented guitarists, closet guitarist. He's phenomenal. I've been trying to get him to do an album with me for the last 7 or 8 years, but he's, I don't know. I guess he's not comfortable enough to release his shit at the moment.
We know way too many people like that.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. The Middle East has a lot of those guys.
And so they were in AUS, so we had a lot of shows. We played a lot of shows in AUS. So we were covering stuff like System of a Down. So it's I think 97, 98. So System of a Down, bit of Slayer, but the Diabolus and Musica era.
Yeah.
It's not the best album.
So for someone that's very anti-metalcore, you were, or new metal, sorry, you were in the thick of it at that time.
Okay, so my first proper introduction to the heavier side of music was 4. But it was more of seeing the logo of Morbid Angel at a friend's house and then just being mesmerized by hearing the music but really not understanding what the hell this is all about.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll speak about the influences later. I don't know, it's a completely different story. So contact me, played bass. We played a lot of shows between AUS, AUD, and a few other random places. And this was back before you need licensing, you could serve alcohol, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it was all word of mouth. We didn't have the internet, so it was just pagers.
Pagers? I was going to say flyers.
No. Yeah, flyers and pagers.
Yeah.
But you can't actually put a message on a flyer. On a pager.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So during that period, I met Pavan Muki, who's Born Beggars, the hip hop group from the UK. So they obviously started off in Dubai and then moved. So we met like random parties, like I think at 95 as well. I got invited to one of their house parties, and I heard someone playing metal, like Pantera and like, you know, shit like that. So I go to the back, I see these two kids, not really kids, they were like 14 or 13, you know, just banging away and just playing some good heavy shit. I was, oh, brilliant, you know, it's metalheads, fucking metalhead, brilliant. So we became sort of friends. They had a band called Eskimo Disco.
Okay.
So my band back then was called Spine, with a Y though. Yeah.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. That's the first couple of band names are always like, what's going on here?
So Spine, yeah, man, it was a mix between so System of a Down, bit of Slayer, Cold Chamber, you know, Deftones. We covered a lot of the stuff. We had our own originals, kind of weird type of vocals. Hold on, I think that was later. Right, so before that, to get to how I became a vocalist.
That's always an interesting story, because that's never anyone's first go-to. It's always like, I tried guitar and then we couldn't find a vocalist, so I tried it.
Well, similar story. So I knew Pavan.
Wait, before we get into that, Mike Misho is on over on Twitch saying, would you rather play bass for Nickelback or singing for Metallica's Saint Anger tour? That's a very, very specific question there in the comments.
Have you got a block button? Fuck's sake, man. I can growl on the Saint Anger and make it sound better, definitely.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you spin it like that, I guess.
Yeah, and
I'll play bass for Nickelback.
Opeth, I think, Michelle, I don't need to answer that question. Yes.
Yeah.
So Pavan calls me up. He's like, Serge, man, you're into heavy shit. I was like, yeah, man, I do heavy shit. He's like, there's a battle of the bands in 3 days at Dubai College. You wanna come sing for us? I was like, yeah, but I'm not a singer. It's like, just fucking scream down a microphone. Come down for a jam.
In 3 days.
In 3 days.
And you've never done it before?
Never. So this is me going to the Mookie's house, and then we're like sort of friends, but it wasn't like, you know, like really close.
Yeah.
And so they jammed the song the first time, grabbed the mic, and then I just didn't know what I was doing. So I was just mimicking, you know, a bit of Slayer, mimicking a bit of Cannibal Corpse, you know, just trying to put shit together.
Trying to figure out where that sound sits in someone's face.
And what tone is.
Yeah, because I when I went, the first time I screamed anything, it was exactly that. It was just like, push as hard as you can with your voice to try and find how they even make that sound.
Yeah.
Because it was something completely foreign. Like, you have no idea. So it's just,
So, did that 3 days, you know. I mean, Praveen and Pritham, the two brothers, they're twins, drummer, guitarist. Hands down, you know, I'm not dissing any musician, but hands down, the two most rhythmic and best musicians I've ever played with in my life. And Rami Lais, he's got to be, because that was a board, you know, to me, that was the fucking ultimate. So we jammed those songs, one song, it was called Plastered. There was only a chorus, no verse.
Okay. Just don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Yeah, basically. That's a good one. And so we went and played Battle of the Bands. At the end, they were announcing the winners, and I was standing next to Praveen. I was like, fuck it, man, let's just go. I don't think we're going to win. And the winners are Eskimo Disco. And I'm like, what? Fuck, you know, this is, you know, unreal, man. My first time. So I remember like the first 5 seconds of my performance. So I had a bucket with drumsticks. Mm-hmm. So the intro had me playing like buckets with drumsticks.
Okay.
Pretty weird. But it was cool, you know.
That's like a full performance piece. Yeah. Well, you didn't just go on stage and do vocals.
No. But I was nervous as shit. I didn't know what the hell, you know, what it's all about. Obviously, all black, spikes and all that shit, you know. Yeah. Fucking metal.
Anyone who has photos, please send them over. Unmutedshow@gmail.com.
I don't do that anymore. If you all know me. So we won it, you know, and we got as a prize, we got to play at the Hard Rock Cafe.
The old school one.
Yeah, the old school one with the two massive guitars
Yeah.
outside. So that was our prize. So a week after that, I go to the jam room with Spine, and they're like, Serge, we're kicking the guitarist off vocals, and you're our new vocalist. He's gonna play bass.
Okay.
So you can imagine his ego, like where it went from what height. And yeah, man, that's where it took off. So I was in both bands, Eskimo Disco and Spine. We played quite a few shows together, and then Aboud left because obviously he was the bassist now.
Yeah. No one wants to be the bassist.
No.
Every band I know.
So there was this project, well, not project, this small project that we made, moving from Eskimos and Spine into a board. There was a concert at the Jabal Ali village.
Yeah.
Done by the same people that organized the first ever show I ever played with my first school band. The one without the name. So it's called No Fear Band.
Yeah.
And they were being a bit arrogant with us, because they thought we were all kids. We don't know what the hell we were doing. So we did this group called ESP, Eskimo Spine Project. So it involved all the musicians except for Aboud. So we had drummer percussion. Guess what song we covered as well?
It's got to be a Slipknot.
Yeah, it's got to be a Slipknot.
It's got to be.
I think Wait and Bleed.
Yeah, you have enough people to go for a Slipknot song there.
So, we had, the right people, and that's where you met Saif Bouhlayil. If he's listening, top Saif. Phenomenal musician. This guy is like unfucking real, man. You put him in a dark room for 6 hours, he'll come up with something that's out of this world. He's such a talented musician. And so we played this show. We did a special song called Satan's Penis.
All right.
Dedicated to the organizer, which was basically all the musicians swapped instruments. So I went on drums. Obviously, I'm a great drummer, as you all know. And the drummer went on guitar, the bassist
just
went
to
on
fuck
vocals,
with
yeah. And then it was just basically four bars of blast beat and 4 bars of another beat, with people just going crazy and Satan's penis, screaming it, pretty much, until they switched off the main PA, switched on the house lights, and told us to get the hell.
All right.
So from there, we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? I think Danny, we call him Danny Spine because Danny Spine. The drummer, he went to Canada. I think someone else moved somewhere. So it ended up being me, Mo, Mohannad, and Praveen and Pritham. And Saif. We recruited him to the band. He used to play with a band called Afflict with 3 Ks. That was also...
3 Ks is a bad sign.
Heidi. You remember Heidi, the singer?
No.
Female singer.
I assumed Heidi was female,
Yeah.
but no.
Anyway, they had this band called Afflict. So anyway, he joined us, phenomenal guitarists. We started writing the board stuff. And the cool thing about it was each guy had a hand in one full song, So,
Yeah.
So you heard like the influences of everything. And then due to dedication reasons, we had to sort of trim people out and then, try to find a proper bassist.
But this is what I want to ask you. When during that whole journey did you think, you know what, I'm actually going to take music a little seriously now, and I'm going to
That's when we formed a board, which was 99.
Where dedication became an
99.
element. Yeah.
Probably 99, moving into
So
2000.
Spine and Eskimo Disco and stuff was still the fun part of being...
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, if you see our home videos, so they're deleted off somewhere. I think someone's got a video, but I think that's a bit explicit.
Yeah.
For that. You know how guys do stupid shit.
I have a few of those, but luckily, unfortunately, actually, my iMac just died. So
lucky guy.
we don't know where they are anymore.
So yeah, man, that's when I met the right people, and Praveen, Pritham, Rami were the right people. We used to jam five times a week, 2 to 3 hours a day. We'd go into the jam room, which was in Praveen Pritham's house, close the door, have one light in there, and then just fucking jam. And it was like every time we walked in there, something would happen, some magic would happen. Even if it's one riff or one bit, but the dedication and then just the I don't know, man. It was just something really special, you know.
So what was the back then? What was the goal? Like, what were you practicing for? What was the
recording an album and possibly touring? But life happens.
Yeah,
you know?
but I mean, at that time, in that mindset, you were like, "This is what I want to do full time," or was it like, "I want to try this one time"? You know what I mean? Because I went through both phases. I went for the like, I wish I could be a musician full time, and then when I realized just how hard that would be being from the side of the world and what would be needed to actually pull that off, I was like, I want to do it enough to be able to go on a couple of weeks tour.
I mean, I'm blessed. I think we'll get to that later. That I do that. You know, I'm not necessarily with my band, but I tour a lot with Nervecell.
Yeah,
and you know, it's always it's something obviously that as a musician you dream of doing. That step, man. Touring is a big thing, but it's not, you know, all you know, shits and giggles.
It's not the Motley Crue tour diaries anymore.
No, man, you don't travel in private jets and, you know, all that shit.
Yeah.
So initially, I think back then the goal was to put music out.
Yeah.
And we thought that we had music good enough to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
It was well received. Unfortunately, due to us being in college and then trying to move on to the next step, you know, each person had to go somewhere, and Abhorred, you know, had to eventually, I don't know, it's somewhere there. It's like, you know,
it's not gone, but it's not here.
I mean, I still have hope one day that we'll, you know, maybe release something, but it's just really bleak at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, man, I don't know, like, I think our first ever gig with Abhorred was at the Battle of the Bands in 2000 at the Aviation Club.
It seems to me, just from your stories, that there was a lot more activity in terms of like Battle of the Bands and schools putting on shows. And
it was. I mean, you know, they tried to push a bit from our from their side, man, because, you know, they see a lot of these youth that instead of going out, you know, fucking some shit on a Thursday night, you know, they'd have something like that. But I mean, it wasn't so. What's the word? Available, you know. So I mean, they'd have that once a year. Yeah. So, you know, you'd have bands that would, you know, come together for a few months before just to play that show and then disappear. You know. Yeah.
Shout out to sorry to cut you off. Shout out to Wadia in the comments. She's a Phoenix says she's laughing at Satan's penis. I think that was a little delayed because you're allowed to rewind the videos. But we went into the suburban jokes.
Yeah. Who's that?
Henjoy from over on YouTube. She's a Phoenix over on Facebook. And Fadi saying you're always into weird percussions on stage.
Yeah.
Fadi Shami is the guitarist and clean vocals of Aramaic. So he's
playing the death thing.
He's had some experience with you on stage.
Wait, Fadi, wait till we get the bouzouki on stage, man, when I'm playing it. You'll love it.
But yeah, so when did Abhorred kind of like, what was the arc of it? You guys put out music, there's t-shirts, you're playing shows. When was the like not the trail end of it? Get closer to this guy.
We did a bit of touring.
Mm-hmm.
We played a show in Lebanon. That was our tour, basically. August Rocks, 2003.
Which is, by the way, for people that are listening that are outside the Middle East, for a band from the Middle East, from the UAE, to be able to travel, to play any part of the, even though we're a couple of hours drive away from each other, where anyone in the States or in Europe would be like, we could just drive over, play a show in some club and drive back. Drive 1 billion miles or fly or whatever it is. The process of getting that done isn't like Europe. No. You're not driving cross border. It's an intense series of events that have to really line up for that to happen.
I mean, we got lucky. I can't remember how we got the gig. I got chatting to Tanya Haroun, who was hosting the event. Oath to Vanquish were playing that show and a few other, you know, Lebanese bands that I think well known back then. I can't remember which ones, but anyway, So yeah, that was our tour basically. We did that in 2003. But I mean, when I say we played shows in Dubai, it was more playing the cafeteria in AUD, playing random places like
So
that.
how is a band like Abhorred received in the cafeteria in AUD? Because I feel
Dude,
like
we were the fucking heaviest thing there. You know?
exactly.
I mean,
I feel like
like-
you would have to have a specific kind of crowd.
no, man, it was just all these kids, man. You know, like it was just us. It was fucking James. He was a kid from Nervecell. I'm trying to think on top of my head. You know, I mean, Adham. You know Adham, the caricaturist guy. He used to be in Nephilim.
Yeah, I know the band.
Yeah. Alan from Nephilim, you know, these
drummer,
guys
yeah.
are all AUD kids, AUS kids, you know, all these random guys that were coming into the shows, and it was anywhere between 80 to 150 people. So back then it was still pretty good, you know, and a lot of the times
Today it's still pretty good.
and it was most of the events were free. So I mean, you know, you can imagine like people would just turn up to whatever it is. And then in 2004, I think that was the last gig we played in Imperial Suites in Dubai. So we thought, you know, we'd just give a few flyers out and see what happens. So we rented this hall, we got a PA, we set everything up, sorted out. And then that was the first week Ruba, my wife, was in Dubai. I think it was January sometime.
Girlfriend at the time.
Girlfriend at the time, 2004. And so basically, at one point there was 250 to 300 people outside the door waiting to come in.
Oh shit.
No one knows who the hell these people are. I've got a clip of Karam with his really short hair standing in the front and then screaming. He was really into it, you know. So also there's, I think, a few familiar faces within that crowd.
Karam, for those that don't know, is a musician. He's a DJ, music producer, and also was the first vocalist of Verdict.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll get him on the album to do a chorus with me. So 300 people in there. Our target. So basically, we had the Abhorred. It's called the Abhorred gig. We had the Abhorred gig for one sole purpose of paying the bands that played on stage.
Yeah.
So we had Juliana Down, we had Mankind, and we had Equinox. Equinox, you know Greg Kargopoulos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolist drummer. Yeah.
His band. So the intention of having this gig was to get people paid because there were so many gigs in the past, you know, we know that the organizers were pocketing all the money. We're like, you know, this is bullshit because, you know, at least pay for the petrol guys coming from Abu Dhabi, you know, or from other Emirates. So we put it on. Fantastic show. I've got it on DVD. We managed to pull in, plus merch sales, 12,000 dirhams.
Wow.
And this is in 2004. So you can imagine, you know, this is after paying for the PA, for
That's
the venue.
net. That's your net.
Yeah, that's our net. We gave...
And 12,000 dirhams for a bunch of college kids.
Yeah.
Is a fucking big deal,
Yep.
especially in 2004. I mean, that if you calculate what that would be today.
Ruba basically opened the bag at the end of the night. It was just filled with tens. So
Yeah.
you can imagine 12,000 or plus. I can't remember, plus or minus. Filled with tens. You know, and she was standing on the door. And we paid each band, I think, 1,500, and then we got catering for everyone, so everyone got to enjoy the night. We took the money, we put it towards all the merchandise that we spent, and we spent the rest on booze, as you do.
As you should at that age. You have to. There's no like, let's invest in better gear. No, fuck that.
So I mean, to me, for Abhorred, that was, I think, the peak. That show, we played that show, and that's when I moved to the UK.
Yeah.
Pritham also moved to the UK. Prav was still in Dubai, and you know, it was all over the place.
That's when it started, like,
we thought we could keep it together, but when I moved back to Dubai, so everyone was everywhere, and we're not a band that can write a riff in a room and then go, you know. We need to be as four guys in a jam room jamming it out, because that's how we come up with our best music.
Peter's asking a cool question there. He's saying, how many unreleased Abhorred tracks are there?
5.
Five. Okay.
But heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
like heavy as it's like imagine Napalm Death on speed.
I'm curious
with a bit of technicality.
Who wants to see some unreleased Abhorred stuff come out? I think we need to get the guys together after this conversation.
Maybe to me it's it's more of a nostalgic thing. So obviously you perceive your music in a different way, but I love Aramaic, I love Verdict, but I'm sorry guys, Fadi and Michelle and Verdict guys, but Abhorred is to me the fucking holy grail.
It's the first love. Yeah. And when you think back of like the creative side of Abhorred, do you feel like now thinking about the 5 tracks that are unreleased, for example, do you feel like they stand the test of time, or would you go back and be like, I'll
release them today on the spot
as they are? You feel like you like that was the creative flow that it could be. It was the best that it could be.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's again, it's a personal opinion.
Yeah.
So a lot of people might think it's shit, but to be fair,
because the internal, I'm not talking about other people's opinion, because the internal dialogue of someone, like I listened to some of my first releases. That's what she said. From Figure of Fate or even Who Will Guard the Guardians, they're not the best produced. They're not the best sounding songs and stuff. But when I listen to the track, I'm like, from start to finish, this is a great, and a lot of the reason that is because of the time that we were in, of the energy we had, of the time we spent in the jam room, like you said. And when I look back, I'm like, those were amazing songs. Even if we were to re-record them today, I wouldn't change a single note. And I always like asking that question, because a lot of people would go back and be like, no, I'll add all my new stuff to it.
Yeah, but you think, how long ago was that for your stuff?
2004.
Okay. So I guess music has not really changed so much in 2004. I mean, the only thing we've got since then is the core stuff, right?
I mean in terms of ability, less than in terms of like matching today's vibe. In terms of ability, in terms of like now, for example, just as a stupid reference, but instead of that riff, I'd make it a little more technical. We'll change it to a little more proggy.
I see what you mean. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, no, I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything. I like them, and I think I've got opinions from other people, and then they like them as well. So it's
Soul is in the house. We were talking about Juliana Down just a little while ago. He says, "What's up, John?"
I think.
Liam Sawar, oh my God, the sexy man.
Can you stop him from commenting?
We can block him, sure. And then he corrected it and said sexy dads. Anthony's in the house. Serge is from Black and White Days.
Also another person to block.
So we're just not going to go back into the chat for the rest of it. Misha over on Twitch says, what are the things you wish you have known in your first bands that you now know now? Sorry. And what are the things missed from that era? And
Start your own band. Don't join a band.
That's actually a great question, and ties into what we were talking about. Like, are there things that, if say there was a time machine, you were to go back to the jam room and Abhorred Haze and trying to put on the show together and stuff, what would you tell younger yourself? I always end with this question, but I think this is
as a band, musician, band wise.
Yeah, as a band. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we would change in terms of personality and stuff.
Just stay together, write more music, and release more shit. That's what I would have said, because
stick it out.
We only released 2 EPs, which was 9 songs, and initially it was supposed to be an album, but unfortunately there was a lot of cock-ups. The engineer in the UK lost the files and so on, so we ended up releasing an EP. So I would have still loved to release a full album, proper album, and made something out of it, because I think we were able to compete with the bigger names. We if we stayed together and we moved to the UK, I think we had a good market to become something decent. Is
that one of the only few ways you can break out in specifically the genre, but in the Middle East as a greater umbrella? But do you have to get out of here to break out?
Oh man.
You can do it from here?
You don't. I mean, I'm just going to reference Nervecell just because they're known. I mean, they, blood, sweat, and tears went into what they were doing.
100%.
They started, I think, 99 or 2000, I think, was their first show.
Yeah, I
someone can
remember
correct
that.
me. Dude, just if you stick with it and then try to push, give it all your everything that you can, maybe yes, but again, starting 20 years ago with starting now is completely different.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be able to. I'm not a very tech savvy guy, I don't. The only posts I do on Facebook is about football.
Yeah. What's that football team you support? That little football team. What's it called? Just for the chat and for everyone that listens.
All right, we'll talk about that later. Liverpool.
Yeah.
So I mean, what were we talking about?
We're talking about if you could break out of the Middle East without having to move out of the Middle East. Nervecell stuck it out, and they have a lot of trophies to show for it, for sticking it out.
Yeah, man, but it's still, even till now, when they do tours, when I do tours with them, I think I've been touring with them 6 years on and off, and some of it doing vocals. Dude, it's not easy, man. Like, you think, I mean, a lot of people probably perceive that touring is great. Yeah, it's great if you got 2 shows or 3 shows and you got a big van or whatever. But it's not, man. It's, it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, 100%.
And especially being in Europe, where you have to drive around for like 5-6 hours from one venue to the other, set up, play the show, pack your shit, sleep, and then do the routine again.
It's physical and mental labor. Like you really have to love it.
I mean, I don't know if I can properly comment on this thing, because I don't know what it's like, to jump in. I'm happy that I've got Badi and Michel who push the Aramaic stuff, and they know how to market the stuff. So if it was up to me, I'd probably still be on MySpace or some shit.
I think that whole website closed down. I don't think it exists anymore. Ahmed Gamil is in the house. He says, "If you bitch," lovely. Peter says, "I still listen to the Empire's Fall often."
Fucking great album, yeah.
And Eliam Sower says, "Figure of Fate is the best amazing live performance." Actually, that's one of the first tour shows that we played. Like you said, it's very difficult to get anything outside of your country. It was Figure of Fate, booked by Eliam Sower.
Oh, cool. Lebanon.
At Club Nova Club.
Yeah, Nova's still there.
And
surprisingly,
we drove down in 2 cars through Syria and into
it's only like 3 hours though.
Yeah, but we were a clusterfuck of different passports. I had an Australian one. We had a Saudi in the band.
So the border must have loved
and
you guys.
they were like, pull over, Habib.
And guys with like beards and guitars. And
we went to we crashed on a friend's couch who had a actually that friend is the next episode of the podcast. Nasser, who's now a Twitch streamer full time.
Twitch, is that new dance?
He live streams playing video games. We crashed on his couch and we played Nova. We got pretty inebriated in all.
How was the crowd like?
It was amazing, man.
Lebanon has some cool
that was the first real show we played. Because in Jordan, we've never been on a stage. In Jordan, at that time, we played basements and houses, like living rooms.
I think I've seen a couple of videos.
Yeah, exactly. I had a bunch of them.
Oath to Vanquish played there as well. Was that your time?
Oath to Vanquish played just before my time, before I moved to Jordan. But that was one of the big event. They tried to make it an event, and I think it was in like a farm or something.
Was Jabir involved in that?
Jabir was not. No, Jabir was
probably still Little Panda.
Dimmu Borgir, that was the name. But yeah, it was a very different time back then. So shout out to everyone that's known me since the Figure of Fate days. It's been a minute. Arzoni's in the house. What's up, Samad? How's it going? He says, "Hey guys, speaking about previous works, I feel that any form of art is a reflection of the artist. When I look at films that I did in the past, in most cases, I feel that it doesn't represent me now. I'm wondering as to what is it that makes you feel that your previous works are still a representation of you today?" That's a great question. I think so. Yeah, like looking back at Abhorred, looking back at the songs you released, is it a nostalgia, like, oh, I love the timestamp of what they were, or do you feel that they still represent you to this day?
Dude, I just want to do some heavy technical death metal.
Yeah,
That's what I want to do. You know, I mean, I'm not young enough to just do it when I was 20, and I love it when I'm 40. So technical death metal, however it comes, it's gonna be.
See, I think this is where it differs for me, because I gravitate to the lyrics as being a singer in general.
I mean, but lyrics, man. Sorry to cut you off, but you know, I don't write obviously the same thing as I do with Aramaic, Verdict, or Abhorred.
So you have that segregation of.
So yeah, man, because Aramaic talks about something quite specific. So I have to do a week of research to write a song. While Verdict, you know, it's just everyday life stuff, you know, like anti-society, anti-this, anti-that, you know, hatred for this. And it's easier.
Hatred for this, everyday life.
Everyday, you know, it's like, it's easy to come up with ideas for that. With Abhorred, it was, I used to write like a lot of poetry back in the day. So I tried to reflect from my poetry into my lyrics. And it worked out pretty well because I was not one of those rhyming kind of guys. You know? So I always had an idea and try to put it in a way where it sings. Yeah. You know, or growls.
Yeah.
If you want to say.
Yeah.
So no, that doesn't really. It changes the name of the band, because the name of the band is what you're trying to represent and what you're trying to do. So
yeah, I think answering Samuel's question is, for me personally, is it doesn't represent me, but I still love it like I did back then.
Yeah.
One of the biggest examples for me when this really was prominent was our last album, Sayonara, took 5 years to finish.
Yeah.
So some of those songs were recorded.
Dude, that's better than Aramaic.
Yeah, you guys were almost finished in 2015.
We started in like 1903. And
I mean, yeah, exactly. You got to give the name some weight. But some of the songs were finished, written, and even demoed and stuff in 2015. Then when it came to 2018, we were redoing the vocals because the technique changed, the microphone changed, our production changed. I was like, I don't feel this. I don't relate to that song because I'm in a completely different mind space. And then when we did it again, we were re-recording all the vocals again. I had to change a bunch of the lyrics because I was like, I still don't relate to it.
Okay.
But one of the songs, Better Off, which I'm not involved in at all in terms of performance, I just wrote the lyrics. I completely stand by it 100% from 2014.
That's the mellow one.
The metal one. Mellow. Yeah. That's the one that I have nothing to do with. You know, like music was written and the solo, and Josh did the vocals. It was just the lyrics.
Video on that, right? No.
The what?
This video?
We released a video for every single song. So this was the animated video.
Yeah, the animated video.
Yeah.
There is a bit of shouting at the end, no?
No, nothing. That was all Josh.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I think what if it reflects the way I feel in the process of making it, I was all over the place because it took 5 years to make. Yeah. But now looking back, like even unscathed and stuff, I'm reminiscent of the time that it took place in. Like I remember exactly where I was mentally when I wrote Conquer, and what it meant to me and what that connection meant and all that stuff. So I wouldn't change it, but yeah, as Arzuni was asking, I think I don't feel it represents me 100% right now.
I mean, with Aramaic, because it's been such a long process, you know, recording the album, and we've had a lot of shit, you know, during that period. I just want it released. I know our stuff is good enough to be out there and mixed with, you know, other bands that are within the same genre.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far as that goes, you know, I mean, I think pushing stuff that's old, you know, you just need to binaire sound. But I mean, that's what I would change in that.
Let's go back and
hold on. Can I just comment one thing?
Yeah.
For Fadi and Michel,
mm-hmm.
I also had blast beats. All the black metal stuff in Abhorred.
Someone typed that in the chat. I just want it as a quote to screenshot it, cause fucking black metal.
So that's my.
If for the person that hasn't heard it yet, or for someone that hasn't checked you guys out live, how would you describe Aramaic? I have a very intricate genre line. Oriental darkened death metal or doom metal, something along those lines. And I always ask, because Svengali always just puts metal. Like, we don't know what the fuck it is.
No, but you guys are metal core. You guys are core.
There's a bunch of thrash stuff.
Backbone.
Yeah.
The spine.
The spine with a Y.
With a Y. Is core.
Yeah. So what is the spine with Aramaic?
I'd say doom death metal.
Okay.
I hate the term melodic because melodic is, to me, reminds me of Arch Enemy. And Flames,
okay. I understand
and
that.
I hate Arch Enemy and In
Really?
Flames. Yes.
Why? I mean, old school Arch Enemy?
Because that's for like posers and like 16-year-olds.
Really?
Yeah.
Even old school Arch
I
Enemy?
don't care.
I'm going to find out a little bit about them.
But I mean, that
was already formed.
When I was recruited in by a couple of immortals, because obviously in Aramaic everyone else is,
And the entire like vibe of Aramaic, because it is a much more performance based, like you use to talk with the audience is different and stuff. So give us a little bit about the history of that.
So I think 2015. They can correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember which one called me, Fadi or Michel, and they're like, "You want to join us as a band?" I was like, "Brilliant! I need to get into music," because I think the last band I played with was 5 or 6. I did join a black metal band in Dubai for 2 weeks, but that was like one of the worst experiences of my life.
Okay.
I don't even want to. It was with
name dropping.
It was the guys from that weird black metal band. Starts with a T. It had Badr in it, Ashraf,
Svelte something.
Yeah, so it was pre that.
Oh, we played a show with them, yeah.
Yeah.
Svelte Reptilia.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think it was called. I can't remember the name of the band. I mean, we played a few shows. We tried to come up with a couple of songs, but it just didn't work. I think it was the wrong time for us.
Before we continue, shout out to Gorgon in the comments. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The fall interruptions. Let us know if everything's clear. Like I said, it's a completely different setup today. My iMac and my entire station completely crashed. So I'm on a borrowed laptop today, and we tried to rig everything as fast as possible. So let me know, Samir, if it's working. Mike's saying, I think music genre used to be a way of easily identifying a band when you talk about it, but I don't think that applies to many music bands today. Yeah, I actually think it applies more now because of the algorithms and Spotify and the way music is consumed.
Bullshit, man. Like, I mean, on Spotify, I put in a song genre, and I get random shit. It's like, but that's not really that genre.
Exactly, but that's the way the majority of the people consume music now. So it actually is more important now than it used to be before. Because before, would you go to whatever Tower Records or whatever used to be open?
Yeah.
You'd go to the metal section. There'd be goth. There'd be this, but it'll all kind of mingle in the same world. You could easily
but I'm sure you've been to record shops.
For example, the one in
England or in the States or whatever.
The one in London was, but you'd still physically be able to move from one space to another.
Yeah.
But now that it's an algorithm, if I put industrial for Svengali, you won't be able to skip past it to get to Aramaic in the same breath. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess Aramaic would be, if you want to call it what genre it falls under, Oriental doom death metal.
Yeah.
Because it's got the Oriental vibe and it's slow at points and heavy at points.
You know what I've always wanted to do? Ever since I had a dumbass YouTube channel called That Guy in Head. I've always wanted the new wave of Middle Eastern metal to be a thing. They have the new wave of American. They have the new wave of, the new wave, the British. I've always wished someone would just lump all these bands together and be like, this is the new wave of Middle Eastern.
Yeah, I mean, not going to go far from here. Fucking Bahrain. Bahrain has some fantastic bands.
One of the best
metal
scenes,
bands, you know, like heavy metal bands, you know. It's like, why aren't these included in the Dubai scene?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's so small. It's 45 minutes or 40 minutes flight from Bahrain to Dubai. I mean, obviously now with the whole pandemic shit, it's not possible. But, I mean, why can't it all be just a one type of support system?
100%. I always say, when I say local, I mean Middle Eastern.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
we're too small. We're too small to segregate.
But, I mean, you don't have to actually go to even like Kuwait. So it's Bahrain, Saudi, and Dubai. Even you can... Iran, but obviously you've got the borders.
Yeah.
So I mean that region, if you put a circle and then you put, you know, for example, Dubai in the center, you can get all these people and you can have a better, you know, following.
Yeah.
And there's so many good things happening out there that because being in Dubai, you only concentrate on what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
And what's right in front of you is Bengali, Aramaic, Verdict, Portable Mind, Bullfunk Zoo, blah blah blah, and
it's still a handful.
But they're all specific to their genre.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, you don't have 2 death metal bands here.
Yeah,
you don't have actually any black metal bands in Dubai, but in Bahrain you've got a selection of a few.
Yeah,
you know, you've got a couple of thrash,
which is insane because it's one of the smallest scenes in the world, but the tightest and most active.
Yeah.
The what I love about Bahrain is that everyone's proactive towards their bands. Like they would rock up and watch a band, whereas here I feel like a lot of the crowd, and I'm not saying that there aren't support. Some of the Zvengali family and the people that rock up to Aramaic and Verdict and stuff are the best supporters in the world. But the majority of the people come to see the headlining band, and the locals are the opening bands that just kind of fill time. There isn't that camaraderie of like, well, why am I wearing a Lamb of God shirt when I could wear an Aramaic shirt? You know what I mean? Like that kind of little thing that
I'm sure you know my rants over the scene like a few times.
Yeah.
Of the support, you know, the so-called. It pisses me off, man, because I've done shows 50 to 100 people. You know, I mean, obviously it's word of mouth, and you know, you're getting friends in, but if you play. So I had a friend of mine's band, The Lacerate, for example. Mm-hmm. If they played a show, they'd have people turning up to their shows, every week. Over here, when we did that, people said, "Oh, we saw them last week,"
which was only 2 weeks. It wasn't like...
It's not about seeing the band. It's about coming out, supporting your local metal scene. That's what it's always been about. It's not because of you. It's because we're doing this for you. At least you can show us a bit of respect and just come in and say, "Hey guys, we're here," you know.
And if anything, you're contributing to the growth of the scene that will eventually get the bands that you want to see.
If you've got 150 metalheads in Dubai, you know, if you have a show, you expect 150 people to show up. Fine, you play a show 1 week, and then the week after the headliner gets cancelled. You know, if your plan was to go out that night to watch that band, do it.
Yeah.
The ticket was peanuts, 50 dirhams. It's your taxi ride or your one drink at the bar. You know, you can afford that. So it's just the support that we're lacking here, you know?
Well, we experienced something very similar with the very last show we were supposed to play. It was March 13th, Lacuna Coil, and it was a huge venue. Everything was supposed to go down. The tickets were selling out like crazy. Matsum did an amazing job with promoting the show and booking everything, and then obviously the flights from Italy got locked down, and this is before we. So Portable Mind and Svengali thought, you know what, we've already practiced, we've already gotten our merch, people are printing CDs and stuff.
I think I told you as well. I said, just fucking do the show.
Exactly. I had a conversation with you. I had a conversation with Matsum and stuff, and we thought, you know what, fuck it, let's just put on a local show, 2 local bands. And other than the kind of feedback we got from the people that were supposed to attend the Lacuna Horse show already, the venues weren't happy to. Matsum pulled some strings himself. Matsum is, but at the end of the day, it wasn't really no one, not the same. We thought maybe half the people would be interested. You booked your weekend out already.
Yeah.
This is before we knew that the pandemic was you shouldn't congregate in small spaces. But the premise of no, khalas, we're not going. It's like you're a metal, but if you support this band, and it was free, we weren't asking for any money.
Okay.
We were like, we just want to cover the costs and stuff, and it was going to be a free show. And still, with that, it was hard.
Let me let me stay quiet, because I can get a bit offensive sometimes, and I did get a bit offensive when we played the second show.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row is not it's not overkill.
But here, maybe people see it as overkill, but if you want to make it as a local band, in minimum, you'll invite 100 people. Don't give some hopes, and some of these people are friends, and you expect them to be there to support, but they obviously have better things to do than get drunk in there.
So what is it? What is it?
On.
Is there there's something you got to have a
what, Levi's?
I was telling horrible dad joke. I was telling Carla from Asper Casper every show, like, you got to have a screw loose to support the bands and the scene the way we do. Like a lot of the Svengali family, a lot of the people that support Aramaic, Verdict, the promoters Jabir and Mu'tasim, and like you got to be a little crazy to be like, I'll go out of my way to get it done. I don't feel the average kind of music consumer understands just what it takes and what goes into building a scene.
Yeah, I'll give you an example, man. Hypocrisy show, played with Aramaic there. Dude, there's faces that I've never seen in my life in Dubai, and these are people living in Dubai. Yeah. So how do you reach those people to get them to come in? Because I know if there's 300 people at the show, I'm sure there's 600 other people that not everyone's on.
No problem. Switch over to Twitch. We'll be migrating over there slowly, but it's a much better streaming platform for the live shows.
I'd like to give a shout out to Matt Campbell from The Lacerate in Liverpool. He plays with a band called Ethereal now, a black metal band from the UK. So these guys, like, they let me try a lot of shit on them as a new sound engineer.
Yeah.
So
shout out to Matt.
They say stuff like that, and they actually help me out with what I need to do. So shout out to The Lacerate and the guys from The Lacerate. Shout out to The
Lacerate. Switch over to Twitch, guys. Twitch is as Bengali fan since 2 years, having been introduced to more local bands recently, made me to having platforms like this, having Svengali goes on stage with an Aramaic shirt, or Aramaic going. A lot of people, for example, like you were saying about the Hypocrisy show, our version of that was the Virgin. We're not getting into this. We have 69 episodes, and you can listen to it, and I say Virgin.
Well, this is the 69th version episode.
This is the Virgin. So our version of that was Sepultura.
Yeah.
Fucking 2,000 people showed up.
Yeah.
Come out to any of the other shows.
Yeah, dude. Like, where the fuck are these guys?
And we were lucky enough to interact with some of them and actually ask and be like, so why don't you come out to the shows?
Yeah.
And it was purely based on networking. They're like, they've been here 8 years. And I'm talking about specifically about Connie Thomas, Alex, and Druki. Shout out to all of you guys and being an amazing support team. Yeah. They've been here 8 years in the country. Pure metalheads, never been to a single show, just based on networking, because they've never heard of it. They didn't know there was a metal scene.
I'll give you an example, man. Like I remember when it was 97, 98. I was walking around, I was going out with this chick. She used to go to ASD, American School of Dubai, when it was back in Jumeirah. And we walked past a house, and I heard someone just fucking playing blast beats, with some guitars. And we have a show like once every 3 or 4 months in the school with like 4 or 5 bands with 200-300 kids. I was like, where are these kids? So there are scenes, especially like the ASD, I guess the more private schools. They've got their own scene happening, but obviously it doesn't spill into us. Sorry, I'm talking when I was fucking 17, 18 years old. I'm sure I don't want to approach
16-year-old metalheads. aren't people like there's only one band. God, I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry. I think it's White Morgue. I think so. Let me know if you're tuning in and if I butchered your name. I'm sorry, but one of the only young bands I know that are reaching out. Local
Okay.
That have reached out to me and to Svengali on the page and stuff and said, hey, listen, we're trying out some new stuff. We're recording. Do you have advice? Do you have this? Do you have that?
Oh, nice.
How do we book shows? How do we release the album? And that was the only experience in the last maybe 6 years that newcomers from a younger age are reaching out to ask about this stuff. All the new bands I know are people that were in bands that have just a new name. You know what I mean? It wasn't any new bands, but I don't feel like the high school band.
Let's say 90s. Sorry, yeah. I need to remember that. It's not condenser. Not a condenser, right?
It's a dynamic.
Yeah. So I've been in the music metal scene since 97, 98. And I honestly haven't seen too much of a change because it's still... I'm not going to say the same people within the era, you know. So it hasn't moved along, and people didn't really push for the Dubai music scene or the UAE music scene to be bigger than it actually is, which is strange because you'd expect, you know, everything big comes from Dubai. You'd expect the same thing with the bands. They push out the name of Nervecell, you know, have their decent following. I go to a festival in Prague and I see 3 or 4 guys wearing a Nervecell t-shirt.
Yeah, and it was first of all, it was an amazing learning curve for me, just as an experience for someone that hadn't been on tour, that hasn't seen the back end of all these festivals and stuff. It was an amazing experience and taught me a lot for the stuff that I used for Svengali as well.
Yeah,
but the experience of meeting people that were primarily, there were two sects of people, primarily interested in the band because it was foreign and exotic, band from Dubai, and then people that were surprised to find out that the band was from Dubai.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such an interesting dichotomy because I'm a fan of this band. I don't, because metalheads, like I feel I gravitate more towards the guys that are like, oh fuck, you're from Dubai? I didn't even realize that. But having had that experience, I realized that you do have to play to your strengths. Yeah. And one of the strengths we have is that, like, big fish in a little pond kind of thing. We're from the Middle East. It doesn't happen that often.
No, it doesn't.
And it's part of the promotion process and part of getting it out there.
I mean, it's maybe I shouldn't be mentioning this, but I mean, you got bands like Medikesh, you know, who say they're from the Middle East. You're not from fucking Middle East. You're considered a European band. Even if you're from Israel, Israel is not considered part of this region, so it's directly into that. So when you talk about Middle Eastern bands, you're talking about the Lebanon, Syria,
the Levant and the Gulf,
blah blah blah, and it goes all the way to, I don't know if there's any metal bands in Oman, but
I believe I've heard of a few, but we also include Egypt in terms of the Middle East.
Because that's Africa, dude.
I know, but I mean, in terms of just the vocabulary used here,
it's Africa.
I know.
No matter how
technically
you spin
it is,
man. Because if you want to go that route, then you've got great bands in Morocco, Tunisia, Jazair. You know, why do you consider these?
I kind of lump all of that into
because
the
of the
thing.
Language, dialect.
The language, the dialect, and kind of the from this side of the world, especially when it comes to the music genre that we're talking about. And the struggles that you'd have to go through to put out an album and to put out. So I kind of lump everyone in just for ease of like a broad stroke. But geographically speaking, it's definitely different. Yeah.
So I guess it's just the way you see things. I mean, you know, obviously, you think it's in, I think it's out. So it's just, you know, your perception.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it's in or out, regardless, I think the support system that we're talking about, and the showing up, and the
if I'm a band from Egypt, you know, all respect to like Scarab and Crescent and all these guys, I've got a history behind me to push my, you know, to what's the word, far as history goes. Well, if you say you're from Dubai, you know, if Dubai's like 49, 48 years old,
next year it'll be 50
from here, called Morgue.
And Perversion, one person is
Morgue, then Perversion.
Okay.
Perversion.
Yeah.
So I mean, these guys have something that they can. I'm talking about maybe the Egyptian, maybe the North African bands, even Lebanese or whatever. They've got more of a history to focus on their music, while people from this region, Bahrain, Saudi, and stuff, it's not that old of a country to actually write music that's gonna sound like it's from here.
Yeah.
So you need to find the balance between your name and your place of, I guess, residence to try to push that.
So this is interesting because we did an interview with lebmetal.com, a Lebanese metal forum, and one of the questions they asked was, do you guys think you sound too American? I'm paraphrasing, but it was along the lines of like, why don't you incorporate more Arabic stuff in your music? And our answers were, because it would be unnatural for us to try to make it sound Arabic. But you write both. You in Abhorred, in Verdict, it's not Oriental, and in Aramaic the theme is making
the Levant, man. You look at Aramaic, all the lyrics, all the ideology, everything behind it, even down to our costumes.
Yeah.
We wear shirwel.
Yeah.
Shirwel is only worn in like 3 or 4 countries.
So for those that don't know what that word means or have a hard time translating
Hippie
it,
pants.
the best way, I was going to say Aladdin pants.
Okay.
The big I took a poop pants.
Yeah.
The only way I could describe it.
So I mean, to us, it made a difference with Aramaic to try to have that image, because we just didn't want to be like another doom metal band. We wanted something that was a bit different. I think when Fadi commented about the costumes, it was me and Fadi, or me and Michel, who said, "Well, I think it must look great because it." I don't know, man. Like it's more of just trying to figure out what works.
Yeah.
For what you're trying to do.
But do you ever look at a band and think, like a band from North Africa, or a band from Tunisia, or from Dubai, or whatever, all the places we mentioned? Do you think like you need to sound more from that place? Like we were saying, you could use the fact that you're from here.
So with Abhorred, we were approached by I can't remember if it was EMI or Sony. I think they're the same. I think now they're the same. It doesn't matter. And they're like, we'd love to, look into your band, but we need you to incorporate either Arabic lyrics or oud or whatever. We're like, it's not really our thing. We're just playing death metal, technical death metal with, talking about how shit society is. That's what I want to talk about. I'm not going to change my style in order to, put my signature on a piece of paper, which obviously everyone knows that, sometimes signing a contract for a smaller band, unknown band, it's going to screw you in the long run. So
especially if we're talking about juggernauts like Sony and the death metal band.
But then, you have to think about it from a different point of view. Are you in it for the music? In it for
Cannibal Corpse. One of the few death metal bands that can make a living off it. And we're not saying they're.
You'd be surprised, man. I mean,
not flying private jets. I'm talking about like making a decent living, playing death metal. Like I remember we interviewed I forget his name, from Obscura, the main guy.
Something German.
Yeah, I forget his name. But he was saying we one of the questions I asked him was, so. What advice would you have for death metal bands starting up that would like to make a living off of death metal? And he's like, you think I make a living off death metal? No. The only bands that make it are people like Cannibal Corpse that just stuck it out and kind of. But it's a working class band. It's like.
But then you look at Meshuggah. So I watched an interview of Thomas Huck 2 days ago. I think it's on 22nd. The dates are wrong on this one.
All the technical stuff is going haywire today. We're not.
So he said basically, if we didn't work our asses off to get to where we are, I wouldn't have been able to sit for since the pandemic started and on my ass and do nothing.
Yeah.
Because we worked really hard to get to where we are, and we knew that we need to have this amount of money in our bank account by the end of the fiscal year so we can survive, blah, 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 before knowing the pandemic happened. It happened, and, they sorted themselves out. But this is a band like Meshuggah, which is like above God for me.
For you. But we're still saying top tier, like grade A.
These are touring. Like, there's no grade for them. They are just, it's just, Meshuggah created God, and then everything flowed.
Okay.
It depends on which God you're looking at,
So going back to the genre, is not gent. This is not gent.
Meshuggah are life.
Oh, that's amazing. But
no, I mean, they did start the whole movement of
gent, 100%.
But
no, I'm pulling your leg. I love telling Meshuggah fans that it's gent, just because the term became
they started off as the gent, but now they're just a superior form of everything.
Speaking of that, something like that, like the dedication you have to put in, all that time you have to put in. Where for you was the you moved to the UK, you studied audio engineering. Where was the I might not be doing this as hard as I
had what's it called? I knew what it entitled to be a metal musician. You get to a certain level, unless you're Morbid Angel, Jagga, or you go to like the Maidens, Metallica's. Unless you get to his music was always just a passion. And do all that because it's what I love doing. I love being on a mic. I love being on stage. I love, calling people the C word. I know I can't use here. Can't.
Mike.
Because I can't.
Misha's, or see you next Tuesday. We say Mike Angelo in Canada.
Yeah.
Always says see you next Tuesday on the comments. That's the abbreviation, the sneaky way of getting it in. But Misha is asking, what's the best band you've seen live, and why is it Meshuggah?
It's not Meshuggah because I've seen them 6 times. Every time I saw them was at a festival, and every time I saw them at a festival, I either got smashed in the head, kicked in the back, suffocated.
See, in France, it was daytime. The lights did nothing.
Hellfest. What was that? 2011?
10.
Okay.
And there was the sand kicked up really badly, and everyone just started just choking, and people were rubbing their eyes, and no one saw anything. And then by the time I got to the back of the crowded area where the shawarma was, where the food stalls were, they were finished.
Last time we saw Meshuggah in Finland with Ruba got kicked in the head. I was like,
"Wait, kicked her in the head?"
No, I was like, "Let's just stand right." I wanted to stand in the front, right in the front. And she's like, no, we're not going to get there. I was like, oh, fine, let's go stand just behind where we thought the mosh pit was going to be.
That's where the mosh pit was.
That's what.
I used to go to your events for support and to get drunk. My question is, what is it that you feel as an artist that metal allows you to say or express yourself that you wouldn't be able to do in some other type of music? Basically, why metal? And
fuck the world, because you can say whatever you want, and
I mean that's still under the umbrella.
No, man, it's mellow. That's mellow. That's
acoustic guitar. I listen to rap. I like a lot of crap. I like a lot of the new, even the new pop stuff. 21 Pilots.
Okay, funny story. So I'm new to Spotify. I think a couple of weeks ago, I was like, okay, lyrics. It's just my son. Acoustic or some shit like that, and I put it
just
on
as a playlist, ready playlist. Yeah.
I put it on, and I was actually quite, pig ore, iron ore.
Okay.
Some shit like that. I'm sure it's a famous song. So I mean, I'm not specific to metal, but maybe 90% of my music is metal. I'd listen to a bit of classical music because I like, most of my vinyl is classical music, so I like that. I listen to a lot of Indian classical music, like sitar, tablas. It's
not just listen as an outward trajectory. Would you be able to get a tabla and express yourself?
No,
the same way you wouldn't.
No. So I mean, Ruba, she listens to a lot more diverse music than I do. Favorite bands like Radiohead. I'm just gonna throw a random name, Tsatagwa.
That's it.
So that's why I feel comfortable. If I'm in obviously different atmospheres, you know, I'm subjected to someone's house to listen to shitty music, you know, then
Subjected.
then I have to. I worked in Virgin Megastore in 98, 99,
Nice.
and they saw me, long hair, beard, piercing. Someone from Virgin put me in the pop section. So this is a metalhead, metal t-shirt, you know, the red...
So you were recommending like, what was it?
Dude,
Kylie,
I was
Minogue
bumping.
at
I was
that-
bumping to... I was subjected to that. For instance, I've been listening to it since I was like 13.
Yeah.
So I know what I like. You know, I've experienced a lot of shit. I listen to hip hop. I listen to, you know, I mean, WA, Two Life Crew, you know, like Ice-T, Ice Cube, you know, all the old shit. So, but now if Murder Was the Case came out, you know, someone was playing it, I'd be jumping and fucking singing all the songs because I knew it, because this was back in, you know, when I was growing up and still trying to understand music. But my kid loves it, so I'm happy about that.
I feel like you said, I think I can take in different genres. I listen to a bunch of different things, but when it comes to like the expression, I don't know if I could write a rap song. I don't know if I could sit down and be like,
bitches and hoes and...
No, not necessarily. Even my version of my
Rap.
take on things, like even if you give me the bedrock of music, I don't know if I would vibe it the same way. I feel like I forgot if it was. I think it was Iron Maiden. An interview with
Dude, can I ask you a
Bruce
question?
Dickinson.
Have you got a pot that you piss in?
You could go take a
Alright.
piss. Yeah, you could. Oh, I could jump into the comments. Go take a piss and go back. We're allowed to piss on the podcast.
I didn't know that.
Not on the podcast, but during the podcast. I'm sorry, guys. Serge will be right back. But that's a great question, Samir. As I was saying, I think for me personally, it's just the way I gravitate towards expressing myself through metal. But I listen to everything else. I think, I was saying, Bruce Dickinson once said, you could scream about anything. You could scream about love. You could scream about hate. You could scream about any of the emotions and any of the subjects. It's just the preferred delivery. Misha's asking something for Serge. Thank you for tuning in. Jimmy, let me know if I'm saying that right. Jimmy Praya. Samar Zuni, oh man, the connection is too bad. We need a reshoot with Serge. Samar, head over to Twitch. We're migrating over to Twitch. There's a lot of people that are already on there. Just head over, make an account. It's free. Follow the page there, because the live streaming element of Twitch is perfect. It's a website made for live streaming, unlike Facebook. So everything is crystal clear over on Twitch. Sorry, and it's twitch.tv/unmuted show. So if you go to twitch.tv/unmuted show, make an account to comment if you want over there, but you could also watch the show live, uninterrupted, over on Twitch. And also, this whole podcast will be up on audio platform AM. So that's another way you could watch it or consume the podcast. Full Tupac questions for you. What's the best band you've seen? So what is the... Yeah.
Where to start? Necrophagus, Napalm Death, Gorguts, Morbid Angel, Eggcock, Judas Priest. You know, with music, Cannibal. The first ever gig I went to as an international band was Morbid Angel on the Heretic tour. It was like energy was coming out of everything.
Yeah.
You know, I just felt like, like I can't describe the feeling. The second show I went to a week later was Cannibal Corpse, and I stage dived on Hammer Smashed Face.
Yeah.
And that to me was like, the smile on my face for a week after that was just Cradle of,
I don't care
what people say. I love Cradle. You know, I grew up with them and they're fucking fabulous, you know?
Yeah, I like Cradle of Filth expression, but in terms of why the genre, I think energy is a word that's underutilized whenever
I don't
we
know,
think
man.
of it.
Like, it came in the right time. I remember I forgot the tape. Actually, I brought it with me just to show what the first thing that got me into metal is. don't know if you can see it. Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. This is still the tape from 93.
Hold on, I have to move over there. But yeah, tell me about.
So my mom, and she's like, "Oh, check this out," and she played the first song.
There it is.
She played the song "Godless," and that was the turning point. I think that was when I realized that there's something that's And from there, I started a bit, like trying to figure out what this is. It's like, have you not heard of drums and toms, and then it breaks down to like an industrial sort of like a clangy sound. It's a brilliant tune.
See, you have a much cooler first song introduction to metal than I do.
What's yours?
Silverchair Freak.
Okay, but dude, you have to
drop the album, and their music video was playing on loop.
So with Spine, we covered Silverchair as well.
Yeah. Well, you and I had a conversation about covering Silverchair. Video countdown things, and the music video for Freak started, and it was the first time I saw someone headbang. The first time, and the music video consisted of this lady basically getting plastic surgery and turning into a monster, and it was just, I was like, I can't remember. Next door neighbors in Sydney literally had a garage band, like opened the garage door and they played
a band in there.
Yeah, and I think their name was Garbage. Shit, like it must have been. It was something that was like we weren't allowed to be called. You know what I mean? Like that's how my recollection of it. And I remember we had a show and tell, guitar straps, a pack of new guitar strings. Crash. This is my guitar strap. That's his drumsticks. These are strings. Do you guys know what strings are? We completely lied out of our asses.
Reminds me of the first day in SAE.
that was basically my first, like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Because I saw these older guys in a garage next door, and I just watched this thing on TV, and I was like, it's doable. Like that thing on TV, these guys are doing it, and they're only a couple of years older than me. And I mean, Silverchair were just a couple of years older than me. They're like, in their early teens at that time. And I was like, fuck, you could do this. You could actually do this. And that was my introduction to and then I figured out it's a genre and what do you listen to, and got into grunge first and stuff, and then
well, I guess that's the stepping stones to grunge.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me it was, so listening to Godless, the song, was like, it opened up, like everything, and especially, what I was going through as a teenager as well. Obviously it's a fucking tough time for everyone.
Yeah.
Being a teenager, you don't know what the hell your body's doing or what your mind is doing.
And a misfit teenager.
What I was into because of that. I mean,
so you didn't get into it because of the Outcast?
I got into it because I related to, it just clicked.
Yeah.
When I heard that song, it just clicked. I mean, before that, listening to the grunge stuff, I mean, fine, it's grunge, it was on MTV, stuff like that. I didn't really know anything beyond, what was the heaviest band then? Like,
maybe, I think maybe Pantera was the savior of that time.
I didn't even know Pantera.
Yeah.
So I think the heaviest song for me was Jesus Christ Posed by Soundgarden.
Okay.
Because that was pretty heavy, and that was in 92.
95.
Somewhere there, so...
Anthony saying grunge rules in the chat. And Misha saying Cradle or Shit live.
Dude, Michelle, man, it also depends on when you saw them, how you saw them, why you saw them,
I'm surprised Anthony digs grunge though. Anthony from
would surprise you,
Yeah.
He likes some shit that, I wouldn't make dead people listen to.
That's great. I'm going to use that from now on.
So from there, you like listening to that, and then I was, back then, my best friend, so my sister was best friends with this girl, and I was best friends with her brother. And then we eventually got our hands on a Master of Puppets tape. Mm-hmm. And
that's a mindfuck.
And from there, we discovered Testament, New Order. I still have the tape as well, and the tape of the Master of Puppets, so I still have these. And I have the first 2 t-shirts that I've ever bought. Ever metal t-shirts.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Morgoth and a Overkill.
So
we don't care what you say.
Are you a collector?
I've got over 250 t-shirts, and some of them are white because they were black at one point. When I started listening to metal, I started collecting t-shirts. So, and they're hung in alphabetical order. Just like,
So you're a collector, like an extreme collector, I would say.
I buy my clothes at festivals.
Yeah.
And gigs.
Yeah.
That's
do you remember the Sam Dunn documentary?
Yeah.
Headbangers Journey. I think it was called Headbangers Journey.
Yeah, it was 2008 or 9 or 7 or some shit.
Yeah, well, it was definitely after 5 because he came to Desert Rock for one of the. He came to Desert Rock for one of them.
It's a virgin grape juice.
A virgin.
It's a virgin of grape juice.
What was I talking about before you confused me with that pronunciation?
Something about.
Oh yeah. He was Sam Dunn is looked at metal from an and one of the things he was talking about in the documentary is the like the vest and the t-shirt and the flag you raise wearing like your Carcass t-shirt or a local band t-shirt or whatever, and you don't get like no one's walking around with a Beyonce shirt feeling like they're representing. You know what I mean? Like there's something that happens in metal where it's like even if it's as big as Metallica, you wear a Metallica shirt, you're like.
I took my first copy, Ride the Lightning, Metal Up Your Ass, and I got stolen from me. So after that, I didn't own. Actually, I did own Wherever I'm Your Rome T-shirt, and also that got stolen.
A bootleg?
No, originals.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, the only bootlegs I got was with Barney in Thailand. But they're cool, man. Just simple logo shirts, you know.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Shout out to Thomas Volkman.
Hey.
A lot of people switching over to Twitch. We're slowly migrating the live part of the podcast over to Twitch. It's such a much better platform, and is it's just generally made for streaming. So if you make an account over there, jump over to Being Cut Up.
And again, Twitch is not a.
You guys should be moving on to Twitch, and I wrote hope I see more of you Twitchers on the Twitchers. Just sounds like is a thing.
Something.
Did you ever go through a MySpace
Band
phase?
campers.
Did you ever go through
I was
a hair on the eyeball selfie?
What, you calling me fucking emo?
A little scream.
Looking at me, you know, it's.
You're.
I think I can offer what people are looking for.
But see, this is one of the arguments I have with a lot of different people, because a lot of people come to me for advice regarding social media because I've managed a couple accounts that were bigger and stuff.
Yeah.
But everyone has something to offer. This is the craziest thing that people say. You're not only in entertainment in terms of being in a band. You're not only have a presence. That's your brand.
With Aramaic, and I don't need to hear like repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is, but I don't care. I'm the one with the mic, not you.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say whatever the hell I want. With Aramaic, obviously, until Fadi decides to speak over me sometimes.
That's gotta happen.
Gotta happen.
Listen, we had to shut Ali's microphone off. The bassist. And
show calling or doing that side, you know, I need to be in this state of mind, and if I'm not in the state of mind, then I cannot run the show.
Yeah,
you know, it gets serious at the same time.
Yeah,
so
I just have
professionalism, and
I just think because your personal brand, let's call it that, not like you know what I would say local brands.
I'm too subjective,
but that's exactly the point, is that you are subjective, that you don't hold back. That's part of the.
I would try to. So if you give me a random song that I don't like, I'm going to say it's fucking shit.
But
it might be the best song.
That's part of that. That's part of
you
it.
know, I love Svengali, but I'm not a big fan of Svengali.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I love your energy. I love what you guys do, but I'm not gonna put a Svengali CD on.
Yeah, exactly. You know? But that is rare. That kind of vocabulary and that kind of honesty and that kind of stuff. That's part of the charm. That the fact that you could say, you know what, audio engineering.
That's another thing, man. Like audio engineering and music. So. I know guys who you'd put a song like, oh, why this riff is there and so on, you know, like as an audio engineer, I had to try to distance myself from listening to songs. Oh, the snare is shit.
But that's exactly what you engineer full time, live and in the studio, and you've recorded, you've been on both sides of the coin. That's a personal brand that it's like posting on Instagram. I'm saying like building a you know what I mean? Like just a brand. It has value to it. And the people that don't see that kind of value are the people that are like, you know, what?
I don't know, man. I honestly, like, I have thought about it many times before. Got big
band. Who's going to listen to Aramaic? Who's going to listen to Verdict? Who's going to listen to Svengali or Nervecell? And unless you put your shit out there, no one's going to listen to it, obviously.
Yeah.
But until you do, and until you establish the foundation of, I've been around for 20 years. Here's how I think. I always go to you when it comes to like shows and how we can benefit.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I just don't feel like people
in the comments as well. Everyone in the chat that's tuning in live. What do you guys think about this stuff? Like when it comes to creators that are part of bands, or creators that have a say in something bigger than just the individual creator. Would you guys be interested in their personal take on things? Like for the biggest example, obviously, like Serge, for example, being having Abhorred, Verdict, and Aramaic, being an audio engineer, touring with Nervecell. Someone like that. Are you guys more inclined to be like, let's listen to what he has to say, or ask him for advice, or that kind of stuff, like I am? Like platform, is that more
the person or the personality?
Exactly. You just want the end result, the kind of the music, or would you be down to say? Let's see who's in there. Definitely much better. She's a Phoenix is already on Twitch. Thank you so much. It really does help. Search should
Pops, but I don't know. He just would have suited it pretty well.
Spook Show is in the house. What's up, Dave? He just wrote
Dave.
this.
Which Dave? Do I know this Dave? Spook Show?
Dave, yeah.
Which I know 2 Daves, 3 days, 4 Daves.
There's
days.
so many Daves.
Like so, when I was in Liverpool.
Yeah, we had the Canadian Big Dave.
Yeah.
And we have Spook Show Dave,
which is
not Fletcher.
No, Dave Fletcher is the English guy.
And the Big Dave is the Big Dave, and then we had Gave, the gay Dave. Dahi.
Oh, Dave Dahi. Yeah.
Yeah, we called him Gave.
All right.
And I was like, and I didn't think of it. I didn't think of lumping everyone. And I was just like, I just want to shout out Dave and Dave and Dave. Fletcher, hit me up because we printed T-shirts for everyone that's supposed to be on the Lacuna Coil show.
What Svengali T-shirts? Maybe you should pass one on to me.
Yeah. Well, you don't like Svengali, so you don't.
Dude, I've got 3 Svengali T-shirts.
I know.
So,
but see, this is the thing I was talking about. He's the British Dave, not the Canadian. He moved to Twitch too. Thank you very much.
So Jimmy said something. I liked hearing Serge's opinions on everything, honestly.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I could tell you.
Jimmy, I read that one. She's a Phoenix says, it's always interesting to listen/watch about the individual journey and thought process of band members and artists. You never know who
was possibly the first person to growl in bands.
But see, that statement alone, just for you internally, like as a personal dialogue.
I lived it, so I didn't feel. Remember, or lined up pictures and stuff. I had like big hair.
Rest in peace, iMac.
Like big hair, and he was screaming down a microphone. And I remember really well looking at people's faces, because I love looking at people's eyes, when I'm fucking singing, because I just want to see if they're reacting to me. And what I want to see people, like looking at me and say, "What the fuck is happening?" And then coming to me after the show and say, "Dude, you've inspired us." And I've had that back then.
Yeah.
But now, because you have all these smart asses everywhere, I don't think life is not all peaches and pies.
Is that the saying?
I don't know.
Peaches and pies.
Let's just make it a saying.
Life is not all peaches and pies.
Peaches are amazing. Pies.
Podcast interrupting for me, couldn't catch the question, and it's much better than Facebook where we don't get interrupted. So much smoother. It's basically real time, so it's a lot better. Opinions about.
And I will C-word you.
What was Michelangelo saying? See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
We'll just see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
See, that's where it falls.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Add VOth 3.
Sounds metal.
You gotta let us
Add VOth 3.
let us know if I said that right. I'm on Twitch now. Wow. Yeah, thanks, man. Or girl, whoever is.
It's Anthony, probably.
It probably is Anthony. Let me know if it is Anthony.
If it's Anthony, it's probably number 1.
There we go. But let us know who it is because the handle doesn't show up. But yeah, as long as we get more people on Twitch, we start having a better live experience. But speaking of live experience, we were talking about Aramaic and the theme and the wardrobe and everything that goes into it. What for you? How do you? Because I can't do that.
Yeah.
Split between Aramaic performance and composition wise and
go smash
and
it.
and you just
I've got shit to say to you, I'm gonna say it and I'm gonna call you out for it and I'm gonna make a scene on stage.
So how do you split? Is it a different part of the brain? Like do you have to physically work towards?
Yeah, man, it's so hard. Like with Aramaic, like I get, like really bad indigestion before I do any Aramaic show. I don't know why. I can play any show, like my first show with Nervecell.
Is it the runs are not right?
Yeah, things are not right. Some things might explode somewhere, So, but I mean, my first show with Nervecell, I can't remember, like 2009, 2000, no. Fuck knows. Anyway, I think it was in Germany. I was backstage. I had a couple of swigs of my rum. I got up on stage and there was about 200-300 people in there. And it was like talking to you right now. I'm so comfortable.
Sorry to cut you off, but Misha's saying it's the musicians. We make him sick.
With Aramaic, man, it was more because I had to put the persona on. I felt a lot more pressure on myself to try to deliver something that was a show. I'm not a guy who likes to put on a show. I've lost a lot of friends and stuff like that because I'm really direct and in your face. I couldn't do that with Aramaic, so that scared the shit out of me. What helped was covering my face, because if not a lot of people knew that, I'm revealing a secret. I used to have all my lyrics and all the script between the tracks right in front of me, in front of the monitor, because I got so nervous that I really needed something to focus on. That's why it became part of the show, but the whole stagnant movement I think made it a lot more regal.
Yeah.
If you can say, looking down upon people, not looking down at people, So it's just trying to separate myself from being a mortal on a different what's it called, level or cloud or whatever, you know.
But is this something that you pre-planned before the first show?
No, because once we got into the whole, because our first show we played was wearing plain black t-shirts and the shirway. The shirway was always part of our show. Yeah. At the beginning, it was developing. It was a developing idea. I think it was the song "The King." You can see that. I was just wearing plain black t-shirt. We're all wearing plain black t-shirts.
By the way, for those that didn't know, I made that music video.
Yeah, you and Hadi and some other nuts, and you didn't. And then from there, at first it developed with me like moving around a bit, and then once I realized I was a bit more comfortable with just looking, staring people down, because that's what they would have done in the old days. Yeah. It has nothing to do with who I am. It just has a lot of representation of the music. So do
you see it as a character? Like,
fully,
there's a character you have in mind when you're on stage?
Because if I play a show with Aramaic and then Verdict are straight on after that, I'm straight on after that wearing my shorts and fucking trainers and a metal t-shirt and just calling everyone out and just being in their face and then just swearing at them, just saying whatever comes to my mind. With Aramaic I can't do that because I need to keep the persona. Like with the bigger bands, Behemoth and XYZ, you need to keep that persona going. Like the Abath from Immortal. Yeah. You meet him without the corpse paint, lovely bloke.
Completely different dude.
You meet him with corpse paint, it's the biggest, see you next Tuesday. So. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It adds to the energy. I believe it does add to the energy. But I've always been a big fan of bands that put on a full show, even though I know I physically can't do it.
Like honestly, with Aramaic, I'd like for a grander show.
Yeah.
A lot more. Maybe get a lighting guy, get a a bit more theatrics on stage.
So when I felt the time I saw Aramaic, and I felt you guys fit in perfectly with the band that was with you on the bill, was with Septic Flesh.
Yeah.
But like you said,
it was not my best shows.
And in terms of sound and stuff, but I meant in terms of vibe. Yeah. In terms of vibe, it fit perfectly. They had a leg up in terms of the lighting, because they had those lighting triggers.
Flesh is like next level. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to all the guys. We had a great time at the show and meeting them, and they're some of the best people I've ever met. But just as a viewer, as a stage performance, I was like, if Aramaic just get a little bit of that lighting design in terms of like just on time.
We need like smoke. We need I can't remember which show it was. Music Room, and you know how they have their lights set. And I was in a spot where there was no light.
I blinded you once a couple of years ago.
I can't remember, but I remember one show where you could see Michel, Fadi, Ahmed, and whoever. I think Khalid was the drummer.
Khalid Tamimi.
But I was standing in a slightly awkward position where there was no light on me.
Yeah.
And obviously being, local band or whatever, no emphasis was made on it. But if we had a proper lighting show or a guide to design, something for us to make the atmosphere a lot more present, it would have made a massive difference. I saw a lot of the pictures that I wasn't even there. You couldn't even tell I was there. So it's.
But this goes to show how just how pull up your bootstraps kind of scene we are. I've done more lighting.
Yeah, for Aramaic.
for Aramaic, and done more like, I'm not a light designer, I'm not a light engineer whatsoever. I just, they tell me if you click this, the light strobes, and I'm like, all right, I know the songs. I've seen you guys play a bunch of times. I'll strobe to the beat.
I mean that's with Nervecell, obviously I don't have control over the lighting, but if I'm on tour and the lighting guys next to me, I was like, okay, this song's gonna have.
I've done it plenty of times for Nervecell too. I've done lighting stuff for them.
But as an audio engineer, I fucking hate lighting.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I hate it. Like, if you gave me an option of suicide and become a lighting engineer, I'd choose suicide.
That went really dark real fast.
You know why? Because lighting guys have to come in late. They have to stay in all night to program the lights to make sure that they work by the morning. Audio guy, you turn up at 7 in the morning. By 3 p.m. you're done. You go home, you sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. Lighting guy, you need to be there in the dark every night.
So you hate doing lights. You don't hate the lighting guys.
It's generally I hate
just lights.
Just lights in general.
Samar Azuni moved over to Twitch. He says, "Oh, I finally got it. See you next Tuesday." I feel really dumb now.
Yeah.
No, but you shouldn't feel dumb. It took me a second too. It's
Thomas on Twitch, not Anthony. Yeah, I thought it would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Not Anthony.
Advoth3 is Thomas.
It's fucking metal.
It is metal. See, Anthony is the only one left over on Facebook. Anthony, move over to Twitch, bro. We need
everything works for Anthony, man. He's he makes it happen. If you want a guy to push you and to make sure that you're on the right path, Anthony.
So that actually ties in perfectly to what I want to talk about. Having been around for 20 years in the scene, Aramaic, Verdict, Abhorred, all the stuff you've seen as an audio engineer, as a musician, what are some of the glimmers of hope? Who are some of the people, the bands that you've seen along the path that you're like, these guys are doing it right, or if these guys pushed, they would do it better? You know what I mean? Like, who are the stars in the journey?
Like people I've met within my...
Met or heard of, or like you have hope for in general?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's pretty cool that you've got guys that are... trying to make it in the scene. I'll give you one person, for example, Asad Lais.
Yeah,
the guy does everything A to Z by himself. He does it for a reason of love.
Yeah,
he's a big inspiration in my life. I've known him for such a long time, and
his brother was in your band.
Yeah. So Rami's also great. the only bands he actually listened to, I mean, from my knowledge, was Meshuggah and Megadeth. So to me, it's great, you know. And you know, he's a jazz musician, jazz bassist,
very established,
however
bassist,
he want to call himself. But I mean, he's talented, you know, by himself. But I said, you know, I would look up to him as a person because he's done things, you know, that he knows people might not give a shit about, but he stuck to it. You know, even like Anthony, you know, I might not approve of the shit a lot of the shit that he does, or you know, but when he wants to get a message out, he gets it out. Like no matter what it is.
Yeah.
He's got a target. That's my fucking target, and that's what I go for.
Yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't matter if you're, you know, 45 years old or like 12 years old, man. It's just your dedication, your vision, and you know, your how you can push yourself to achieve what you need to.
Yeah.
So, dude, I've toured a lot. I've you know, traveled a lot. I've met a lot of people. So I can't really pinpoint, say, that has an influence, that influence. It's just the kind of person, the personality that you meet along the way.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, I don't know, man. It's not really relevant to where I am at the moment. But I mean, there is a lot of people. For you, man, you know, you've been doing this for what, a couple of years, and man, you're doing what you like. You're doing, you know, what you enjoy. So you know, it's just that I find inspiring from people that I've met.
Thank you, man.
This is people that going, you know, to do what they want.
Yeah.
I'm not a full go-getter. You know, sometimes I start something and I stop it because, you know, it's just, I think about, I guess, the broader picture, and I see what the positives and the negatives are, and a lot of the times I end up with, you know, okay, there's more cons than there is pros, so I won't do it. So it's just a matter of inspiration, you know. I mean, time in history, it's you know, where you get the experience.
Yeah. I feel like our generation,
again, you're younger than me, man, so I mean, there's like about 8 to 10 year difference,
but I mean,
it makes a difference.
I think experience wise, we went through the same changes. I mean, those 8 years don't really
no, they don't, man. But you know, it's a personal relevance, you know, to me, you know. So I mean, you know, if I can't tell what your experiences are, you know, I can just tell from what I am, and that's why I think, going back to something I mentioned earlier, I don't think my opinion is too much worthy of general public, because I think I'm on the lower scale of people trying to figure out life. You know, if you want to come to me to know about some bullshit, I can tell you. But if you want to come to me about,
but this is exactly. This is the thing I was trying to convey, is that I don't think people necessarily want the answer, but they want your take on it.
Like, I'll give you an example. So I used to teach at SAE Dubai.
Yeah. SAE, for those that don't know, is the School of Audio Engineering. They do film production and audio and stuff like that.
Some of my students are now, like, you know, guys that have made it in the industry.
Yeah.
If I go back to 2006, Serge teaching SAE, and now, I think the guy in 2006 was full of shit.
Yeah.
I think now the experience that I can give out of what I've done in the last like 15
Very
years,
different.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
I can sit in front of a crowd and talk to them. Back then, you know, my public speaking was horrible. I used to sweat every time I used to go into class. You know, I didn't have direction. I didn't have means of expression.
Yeah.
Now, you know, like, out of the experience, you know, I can go and I can teach a class. I don't care. You know,
this is the thing I was talking to, trying to say about the personal brand. You do have the experience. You do have the time under your belt. You do have the history to back it up. You do have all that stuff. People do want to hear it. Whether it's the people directly in our circle, whether it's the people that might search it, whether it's just us, me and Misha and Samar Arzuni and everyone in the chat. In terms of Samar Arzuni.
Oh, Samar, yeah. Lovely dude.
In terms of film production stuff, if Samar had a live stream or a podcast, I'd be tuning in every fucking day. I think everyone has so much to bring. Everyone has such weight in terms of experience to bring that is so vastly different to the next person, that I'm such a fan of people just putting it out there. That's what she said. All the time, because I really think what it's not the experience, it's the passing on of the knowledge. I don't know if there's a term that actually encompasses that sentence, but that passing on is
the delivery,
is just so unique to the person that's saying it, that even if I disagree with Serge, even if I don't 100% agree with what you're saying, just the fact that you're saying it would make me think of something.
Yeah.
Whether it's about audio, whether it's about fuck hate breed or fuck Meshuggah, or you know what I mean, whatever it is.
Life. That's all I can tell you.
But whatever it is, I love people follow people.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of that. I love that kind of
dude. I mean,
the voice people can get now these days with the tools that we have.
There's some people in the scene that try to do their own thing, but it failed because they don't have the persona for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other people that don't have the persona, but they have the energy.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it just depends on how you can deliver yourself. The reason I don't think I can do it is because I feel I'm more monotonous. I fall into the bracket. You know, I've got my opinion and it's in the box. A lot of people don't like the box, but that's who I am. That's what I like. I like listening to fucking metal every day because I like wearing metal t-shirts and cargo pants because I'm a fucking metalhead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's outside
JM, I'm gonna convert you one day and I'm gonna spray paint all your fucking clothes black one day.
I'm gonna jump into the comments real quick because we're gonna miss a few. Alpha Kenny Buddy. It took him a second to say Samad Azuni saying Asad is a really awesome person. Shout out to Asad, shout out to Bofangzo. I bumped into him yesterday at Moto. He was supposed to be like episode 3 on the podcast, by the way, but he ditched me. So if anyone passes this message on to Asad, let him know. Mike is saying, just because you missed this earlier, oh my bad, sorry man. Joking aside, Serge is a great person and a solid father and friend. The screaming about issues you are angry about work and letting out the anger.
Dude, metal is about fucking just, expressing yourself. And what better way is it to express yourself in a way where other people are not comfortable with? And screaming down a microphone really made sense to me. It's not just because of screaming down the microphone, it's me trying to express how I feel.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to say about Bruce Dickinson interview thing. You could scream about love, like the delivery is extreme.
Dude, Aramaic has 3 love songs.
Exactly.
Almost.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be anger. I think it does let out the emotion, like you express it as hard as you can, and that's the most extreme version of expressing yourself, is screaming the shit out of it, regardless of, like, now we're talking about technique and developing and how to scream it properly, but the emotion of letting something out is brilliant. I don't think anything matches it for me personally.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. Yeah. Maybe a bit more, 22 years, and it's what I feel comfortable doing. Yeah. It's
the mellow country version of Serge's music.
Well, hopefully when South comes out, that's my work.
There's a sludge album in the works.
It's South.
South.
Yeah.
Okay.
North, South.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Episode 69, guys.
69. Dude, I don't know why you're referencing 69 to hell while you need to reference 69 to like,
because you were supposed to be 66.
I know,
we
but
got it canceled.
We've passed that.
I'm trying.
The closest we can get is if you get to episode 666.
Well, I will make this.
And if you do,
that's definitely going to be you. 100%.
Buy a new iMac before.
I know this. For those that didn't tune in earlier, everything went to shit today in terms of production for the podcast, for the live stream, because my iMac died. I'm on my wife's borrowed laptop.
This is an Air.
It's a tiny little thing. It's I could already hear it. It sounds like it's about to take off. But I had all these little things triggered and lined up, and throwbacks to all the stuff you were talking
okay.
about, but it's all gone in the iMac.
I think it's a win for Serge today. Unless we get to episode 99, which I've booked as well.
Yeah, 19. It's upside down 66.
I think 100 should go to your wife. I hope you're listening to Tara, but I'm making episode 100 for you.
She doesn't listen or watch any of the
Doesn't
stuff I put. Anthony says, thanks, Serge. That's humbling to hear. Fire to our engines. I think guests and watchers of the show are mostly hustlers and achievers. 100%. I think everyone that tunes into Unmuted, this is what I love about the community, about the tribe, is that everyone, whether you're the viewer, the content creator, the musician, the entrepreneur, there are people that are, building catering businesses, and everyone is just ready to tackle the world. And that's something that I completely love about this. She's a Phoenix. If Serge ever went live on his own platform, I would love to watch his perspective on different facets of metal. That would be cool. See, this is kind of the stuff that I'm talking about.
One thing that I've always wished I could do is sing. I would love to sing. Like
sing.
Like fucking Bruce Dickinson, Rob Halford.
Yeah.
That dude from...
I would pay good money to see you do Rob Halford.
That's like, you can ask Ruba, it's... I was telling us, I wish I can fucking sing. This is one thing that I'm missing in my life. I think if I can sing, I would have broken the boundaries of what I think metal is.
Yeah. I've always wanted to be a self-sufficient creator. Like when it comes to videos, I can shoot, I can edit. I know how to do that thing. But I wished I could do the same in music, where I could pick up a guitar, write a bit of drums, and do my own vocals without anyone else kind of contributing to that. Not to say that I don't like working with JM and Svengali, which I do, but but it's just in terms of like just producing and being able to make that kind of stuff just by yourself. Samir Arjun saying, Mike, I would like to hear the answer to this, which we did answer, as I also missed the answer to my question, why metal? Oh man, you missed it? We kind of dug deep into it. Yeah,
it's just the, growing up as a teenager and being a bit outcast, being a bit different. I mean, for example, when I was in Mawakib, because I was one of 3 rockers or metalheads, a lot of people used to look at me as being, the black sheep, which obviously I was. I had my semi-longish hair, I did my thing. I had my Walkman back then, listening to my music, and I didn't interact with a lot of people. So I was always the outcast, to the point where I think I was in 9th grade, and the whole 10th grade class waited for me outside school to beat me up because I was different. Yeah. I got away with it unscathed. And
there we go, Svengali reference.
So, it's weird, man, because being here, living here, growing up in the 90s with people's expectations of what the norm is, I was the opposite direction. Yeah. That's why I think by the age of 15 or 16 in Mawakib, I had 3 friends.
Explain Mawakib for
Mawakib
those
is a school. Yeah. It's a school. That's all I'm going to say about it. Yeah. Okay. So 2 of my closest friends and even the best man at my wedding were from there, but they were there temporarily, so we stayed friends. But everyone who was there from before, doesn't really make sense to me. I think the only other person I speak to in Mawakib is Fuad Karam, who works for Red Bull. Oh yeah. The I believe culture manager back in Lebanon. Yeah. And yeah, man. So it's metal is what I felt comfortable with. It spoke to me, and it's what made me feel like I'm Serge. Yeah. You know what I always think about whenever someone says why metal or just talks about like, oh, was it a phase? I remember the Rob Zombie interview where he Ramsey, how you doing, man?
Ramsey's in the house. What's up?
From Tilburg.
Oh, what's up, Ramsey? Thank you for tuning in all over on YouTube. But yeah, I always think of the Rob Zombie interview where he says, you never meet a metalhead that was like, I was big into Slayer. that one summer. Like you're either in it or you're not. Yeah, there's no guy that was like, my creator tattoo. I was into them that summer. Like you're 100% in, where to a point where you hate the band.
Yeah.
Like, but full emotion. There's no indifference. Okay. Like it's either love or hate, and you're 100% engulfed in it. But there's no guy that's like,
So I met a guy in the industry who I work with quite often. So when he was young, Jordanian dude, he got an immortal back piece.
Wow.
On his back.
Okay.
And now he despises the sound of a drum kit or a guitar. He's a trance guy, and he still has the immortal tattoo on his back.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like, okay, fine, I understand your love and dedication, but in order for you to get a tattoo of your favorite band, you need to be sure that.
Do you have any band tattoos?
Never. I'll never get one. Maybe a Meshuggah later on in life, but not the band name, but one of their logos.
I have one. It's very poorly done.
What is it?
It's the Deftones White Pony.
Okay, you got the pony?
I got the pony, but I got fat after I did it. So
now it's a bear?
It just looks like a sausage. Just the legs are gone. So it's just like a sausage with a bit of hair.
Is this interview almost over?
Kiation over on Twitch. Shout out to Anthony for moving over to Twitch. Thank you very much. He says to 616 or to 666. That is the question. Well, if we get to any of those episodes, if we get to 100, I'll be very happy. Mike Angelo saying if you can't get Serge for sure 666, we can always have Tobias Forge. Oh, that's the guy from Ghost.
Yeah,
that's the main
shitty
dude from
band.
Ghost. No, I'm gonna go with you. I was gonna defend him. I was introduced to Ghost by Misho, and one of the songs. Fuck, I forget the name. Be him up, be up.
Dude,
that song.
The most I know about Ghost is the most I know about Luther Vandross, which is nothing.
But that song, that I fell in love with a couple of their songs, and that song got stuck in my head really, really badly, and I didn't know any of the words. Like I still don't now. And I went to work, and I was in the kitchen at work, and I was just beat up, set up, like while I was microwaving my lunch, and I turned around and there were 3 people there just staring at me like, "Are you okay?" This is
that was a Ghost song.
Yeah, I was trying. Adnan, when you say tribe, I feel like you're talking about Death Tribe from Kiation. Yeah, man, I love that word, and I love what you've done with Death Tribe. For those that don't know, Death Tribe is Anthony's side project, full project.
It's a side project with
collaborations. Yeah, that's the word. I did.
One of the songs.
And actually, the song that I collaborated with Death Tribe on, you recorded me, and then you have your own song on there as well.
I've got a few other bits, that's I told Anthony, I was like, you need to push me more, man. I've done like 2.5 songs with you.
Mike is saying, guys, you need to make a metal in UAE documentary. Dude, that's one of the things that I've literally always wanted to make.
One metal guy from Holland will come to Dubai and make an interview.
I've always literally wanted to do that. She's Phoenix seconds that. Kiation says Metal U. Oh my god, there's a dad joke in the comments. Cheers, guys. Thanks from and R. Who's R?
Which one?
Over on YouTube.
Oh, that's Ramzi.
Ramzi. There we go. Shout out to Ramzi.
I moved to Holland from Lebanon because of what's happening in Lebanon.
Yeah. Well, shout out to everyone in Lebanon. We donated the last 2 months Patreon subscriptions to the Lebanese Red Cross to try and help out with the relief of the blast and everything that's fucking going on there. A shout out to everyone in Lebanon and everyone that's been affected, because this literally is a ripple effect with a lot of people that have been affected by the blast and everything going on.
I don't know if I can mention this, but we're having on the 4th of November, so we're having a live show.
Yep.
For the it's a charity event.
Yes.
So you can donate for I think it's going through the Red Crescent.
Yes.
to Lebanon. So you can tune in. I think there'll be loads of different links on Facebook and different social media platforms.
But everyone tuning into this, whether you're listening to it on audio or tuning in live, I'm going to be posting. So I bumped into to Asad, who's from Bofang Zoo yesterday. I bumped into him randomly and he told me about it. And as soon as you guys announce it and the tickets and everything is up,
it's going to be a kick-ass show with 12 amazing musicians. And, it's going to be something that, is just quite different from, from what you see. And it's all for one cause. So people give a shit.
Great cause for people.
Give a shit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Mike Angelo saying year 0. Belial, Beelzebus, Asmodeus, Saturnus, Lucifer. That's the one. So basically, I was just walking around going, that's the one. Mike Angelo.
I think I've heard that song, but I can't relate to it.
It's a great song. It's a very catchy, very good song.
I mean, if you want guys with fucking costumes, then you can't look further than Gwar.
Gwar is a great band.
Gwar.
Yeah. My worst...
Lordy are shit, but Gwar are fucking great.
Gwar and Lamb of God I've been pummeled with for the last 10 years just because my wife's family's from Virginia.
Yeah. And
they're like iconic bands over there. And I never understood
Gwar. Is it Virginia or Virginia?
Virginia. It's like the airport announcement. Flight to Virginia. It's the worst airport in the world. That's why it sounds like that, guys. But she tried to introduce me to Gwar, and I was like, I don't get it. I don't.
To who?
Gwar.
Gwar. It's cool, man. It's cool music. It's cool. If you watch them live, it's fantastic. Watching George Bush coming out of like the woman, the female organ.
Oh, we can say vagina.
Oh, vagina. That is amazing. Not as good as Rammstein live shows.
Yeah,
but it's
up there.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah. Ghost is ABBA singing about Satan. Mike in the comments. Yeah, that's the perfect description. By the way, that is literally the perfect description. I think I met Serge.
Shite and shiter.
I think I met Serge the first time in 2001 at a Lebanese concert with Abhorred.
2003.
Is it the right year, Serge? 2003.
August Rocks in Nervecell Baida.
Yeah,
which is probably been right now.
We did the whole arc of Abhorred. If you rewatch or re-listen to the full show, Kiation. It's a very interesting arc for me. And Mike Angelo, switch over to Twitch, bro. Fuck Facebook. Switch over to Twitch. King Diamond is the shit too, he says over in the comments.
I started to do that 2 days ago, I think. Some King Diamond.
Some King Diamond?
Some King Diamond.
Okay.
You know King Diamond?
I know King Diamond. What's happening over there?
Yes, of course. I would love a glass of wine. Our bottle is finished here.
Sorry, we got a hand coming in, creeping in from the door, and a middle finger once we've established that the bottle is gone.
That's one pissed off wife.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks.
Hey, I don't live here. I'm just here for the night.
Speaking of wives, married, 7-month-old kid.
Yep.
Just turned 40.
The king.
All the milestones.
Yeah, there's a couple of stones that have been unturned, but generally I like doing things before the big. I was like got married just before my 30th, had the kid just before my 40th. Hopefully, own a fucking Porsche and a massive house before I'm 50, and then 60. Grandkids, I don't know. Hopefully.
Oh, cool. We got more. Thanks.
I think there's a lot of love happening.
Yeah. So, do you see things? Have things changed in terms of the inner dialogue? Like, do you look at things differently before?
No, man. I mean, like, marriage is just a different way of.
It's just
because
for us, for example, for Tara and I, it was a strict, like almost legality.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just
it
to
is,
have a
you
joint
know,
bank account and shit like that, like to be able to buy things together.
Ruba and I have been together since I think 2002, and
Oh wow, she's put up with you that long.
the other way around. They say I'm difficult. They're right.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, we've been together for quite a while. You know, we've done a lot of things together. We've toured, we've traveled, we've been through ups and downs. You know, we had a baby. It's good to have someone that you can rely on and be comfortable with, no matter what situation you're in. You know, someone that that's going to support you, and married or not, as you said, it's good to know that there's someone else out there that is with you all the time.
100%. 100%. So did it change when little guy came into the picture?
Elric von Lutfi. I don't know, man. Like it just feels like I've got something else to live for. You know, I mean, if I'm in a shit mood, I just look at his face. Smiling little face. With his teeth sticking out.
Yeah.
It just makes my day. If any mood I'm in, I just look at his face. Even if he's in a shitty mood, it's still, I made this thing. It's a surreal feeling. I still can't put it in words because as a father, it's completely different than actually having something coming out of you,
100%
inside of you.
100%.
So
I personally, for me, I quickly learned how useless I am.
Yeah.
In terms of like the grand scheme of biology and the earth and the human race in general, when my wife got pregnant and we had the kid, and just everything that happened, I felt like I was like, yay, I contributed, but also like physically I wasn't able to take care of things. I think
as a father role, your role would be greater, once they start being able to think for themselves, to communicate better. Yeah, that's when you play a big role as a father.
I was talking about the physical aspect of everything. The like just giving birth, like that's, you can't contribute to that. But after that, 100%. I think I learned. I feel like I learned more about myself having kid than I did about kids. I don't know how to explain it.
I feel the same. The only difference is now I can say I'm a father. Yeah. Sounds weird, but it's just, I'm a fucking dad. It's cool. It's I feel like there's something greater than myself at the moment. It's new experience, and I'm looking forward to spending the rest of my life making this little dude happy, no matter what kind of person he turns out, no matter what life choices he makes. I know parents say, we try to guide you, and I'm going to try to do the same, but in how I know how to do it. Yeah.
Because our generation has had the more whether they were or not, but more conservative, generally speaking. Yeah,
man. I come from piercings, listen to metal,
having songs like Satan's Penis as your first band.
Yeah, it's I'm not going to say it's taboo. My mom's been very supportive. Even my dad's been to a lot of my gigs. He was there when we did The King. Wow. The video. Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. I want to be different than what was. Yeah. Because I guess we're different in the way we think. That we're different in the way we see things. But at the same time, we're trying to implement our ideology. Fuck you. Yeah. I don't want to do that. So I'm open to interpretation. I'm not going to put boundaries. However it works out, as long as the boy's respectful and he gives a shit about his parents.
100%. 100%.
And it's got good values.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that really resonated with me, is that what I want to instill in him is just be a good person. Yeah. I don't give a fuck about anything else.
Dude, if he comes up to me at the age of 13 and says, "Oh, Dad, I'm smoking some weed," I was like, all right. Come.
Yeah, the honesty and the... Because I grew up with a very conservative family, and that environment made me feel like I needed to jump out the window and go out at night. And
I guess for you it was different. I mean, my mom was very comfortable with us experiencing life, while my dad was completely reserved. He was the opposite, on the opposite spectrum. So my mom gave us freedom to the point where at the age of 16 she gave me my first cigarette.
Yeah.
But because of that, by the age of 21, I gave up smoking.
Yeah, because you tried it.
It's because I tried it, and it was not. I'm not going to say in support, but she helped me, figure things out in a different way.
Yeah.
Grateful for all these things, but at the same time, I've got different experiences because of my upbringing as well. So.
Yeah. 100%. I think.
But then we say things, and then in 20 years,
I was just about to say,
he's gonna come down and say, "Dad, you're a dick."
I was just about to say, I think regardless, I'm mentally preparing myself. There's this very cool meme of Tom Araya at I think it was like the Grammys or something. Throwing the horns to the camera with his hair, wearing a tux, just fucking being Tom Araya from Slayer. And his daughter and son are in the background just rolling their eyes like, and it's this perfect snapshot of, and the caption is, you could be Tom fucking Araya from fucking Slayer, and your kids will still think you're lame. We can't win.
Yeah.
There's no way you're gonna win.
As you said, man, as long as he grows up with good values and stuff, as long as he turns out to be a ninja drummer, if he's a ninja drummer, I'll be really happy.
Well, we're obviously going to be the parents that force them into being in a band.
Ninja and a drummer.
Yeah.
So because I need a drummer from my band.
Yeah.
Like a technical death metal drummer who can, play Gorguts shit or Meshuggah shit.
And that's always
the interview. So yeah, ninja drummer, fantastic. Otherwise,
very little. I mean, we're not saying doctor.
Otherwise,
lawyer.
dude, just go into space, go to Mars. Do something different than Earth.
So it's exactly the same thing, but just a different profession that we want.
What's your preference?
I don't have one yet. Okay. I think I want him to be into music. I hope he grows up into music.
Just get them out of Earth first.
Yeah.
And I think we would have achieved something.
100%. I think a drummer or a guitarist or a singer on Mars would be very cool.
Oh, he's also a vocalist, obviously.
Yeah.
He's going to take over his dad's vocals.
Also, because everyone can do vocals when they run out of all
you think that, but there's a lot of shitty fucking vocalists.
There are. Have you ever seen that?
Can I name a few?
You can, absolutely. It's called Unmuted.
I'd rather not.
Mike is saying, as long as you can have a conversation with your kids instead of the stereotypical Middle Eastern dad behavior, 100%. She's a Phoenix saying, relating to this conservative parents convo on a subliminal level. Mota, you are useless, I agree, but I love you, from Tada sitting outside.
Which one? You, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think she means both of us. She's a Phoenix.
Well, I don't think.
I mean, we turned out all right, I guess. Mike is responding to she's a Phoenix. Samar Azuni saying, congrats on fatherhood. That takes balls, literally. Especially in today's world. I wonder what kind of music you play for the little guy.
Death metal, fucking anything from Jimi Hendrix to Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation. He loves drumming, so when I fucking tap and shit,
you got to see our little guy just a little while ago. He smashes the drums, and I think we've done the same. We went around that route, but we've also sprinkled in some old school Arabic kids songs.
I mean, Ruba is going to subject him to some stuff that I might not agree with, but maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, just a broader spectrum.
Yeah. But with me, it's metal all day, all night. When he's in belly and he's going to listen to it, when he's, I don't know, when he's burying me in the fucking ground. So
damn, you go dark real quick, bro. Last question, and we wrap every podcast with this.
Please no rap
with this question.
Serious.
Listen, bro. Yo, I can't rap for shit.
Good.
If you had a time machine and you were to go back in time, and before Abhorred, before sound engineering, before everything, back to
So I was like 8 years old.
yeah, just that 8-9 year old, just before you got into things, and you were to give little Serge a piece of advice that you learned along the way. What would that piece of advice be that you gave your younger self?
Maybe like, don't hesitate, just go for it. Don't sit in the fucking shadows. Just speak out, make yourself heard. Don't be too recluse. Just try to be. I don't know. Just try to be a bit more
Out there in general.
out there.
Yeah.
Because I like to be more in the background. I mean, that's why maybe I'm perceived in a weird way. People misinterpret my intentions or what I like or what I do or anything like that. But maybe, be a bit more go-getting, and then, just optimistic about shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Be more optimistic and put yourself out there. Amazing words to end episode 69 with. Thank you so much, bro.
I think we need to do this again.
We're definitely going to do this again. We have a lot. We didn't even scratch
episode
the surface.
99.
Upside down 66. That's going to be the
why.
next one. And thank you so much for having the conversation. Thank you to every single person that tuned in live or listened to this or watched the video after. Like I said, like I've been saying, just move over to Twitch, bros and brodettes. Twitch is
guys and gals,
dudes and dudettes. It's just such a better platform. I love Facebook. I love the fact that the tribe originated there, but specifically for the people that like tuning in to the conversation and joining it, the chat, the streaming, everything is just so much better over on Twitch. Yeah, man, thank you to everyone that tuned in. And we normally had the like hit the outro would be a big thing, but I don't know if I click this button this is gonna work, because this is not my setup. So we're gonna try.
Which button is it?
It's
supposed to be that one,
the one that I labeled stop.
Okay,
because I didn't have enough time to do anything. Robo just tuned in. What's up, Robo? We're heading out right now.
Right, wife comes in the last fucking second. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, so
shows the amount of love you got, woman.
Could you do the honors and say hit the outro?
Hit the what?